everyone. Welcome back to the Captain Logan Show. It's me, Captain Logan. And joining me as always is my wonderful chat moderator and producer, missing his whole Blu-ray collection. It's so sad. It's gone. Somebody stole it. No, I'm kidding. It's DJ Martinez.
Yeah. Actually, the collection got lost in the move, unfortunately.
Oh, no.
Fell off a truck.
That's not the kind of thing you want to joke about.
No, the collection is right over there in the other room, but the shelves just got finished today, and I have to let them sit overnight before I can put anything on them. So just the blank shelves tonight. I thought about shooting another room again, but I thought I would show the progress so that when you watch through the show, you can just see each step along the way. So
yeah, the progress is weird if it was one room. Because it's like, look, we're in this big, large living room, and then suddenly it's a movie theater, and then now it's empty shelves.
Yeah.
You mean the progress from here forward? I see.
Yeah, they're considerably bigger. This is a much bigger wall than my last one.
So we won't be able to see everything.
No, I can't get them all in, and I'll have a lot of extra space, which I will probably compulsively need to fill as a collector.
That's what I did down here. With just space in general, like I wouldn't have even thought to build the arcade 1-up arcade that I have if it weren't for this space. And I moved in and I was like, I'll be really careful, don't go nuts, and then fill space. And yeah, I'm just like that, where I'm like, but there's so much I could do with it.
Yeah, that's kind of how it is with the whole house right now, because it's so much bigger than our last house. It's like, wow, we don't have enough stuff to fill this house, and I don't want to accumulate a bunch more to fill it.
Right before we started broadcasting, I asked DJ why he hadn't started putting Blu-rays on his shelves yet, and he was like, well, of course, the paint is fresh. And immediately after he said that, I could just, like, the smell of paint came into my nostrils. I was like, I can smell it from here, DJ.
Yeah. So if I start to get loopy, if this turns into another Last Tuesday show, it's the fumes getting to me.
I'm sure that's what a lot of our viewers want this to be. Where it's just degenerate the show as much as humanly possible. Welcome, everybody. Thanks a lot for joining us on the Captain Logan Show. It is a Tuesday night, and we're going to chat about whatever you guys want to talk about through the whole show. First, we're going to do a little lead-in topic that's kind of revisiting physical versus digital media. We're going to pose the question, is it possible that there could be a resurgence of demand, if not actual physical media, but demand for physical media because of people's lack of access to their digital stuff, which is sometimes happening to people, and there's always been a fear of this. There are several other factors here as well that make me think that people might more and more want more pure, clear ownership of their movies and video games and maybe even music, books, etc., etc. So we're going to chat about that tonight, and the rest of the show will be an Ask Me Anything show, so feel free to leave questions throughout at any point. Make sure to tag DJ Martinez, because he is the moderator. He makes it possible for me to be lazy and never pay any attention to you folks. But no, I still do. It's just it's much easier to clear my mind, like Morpheus says, and just to let the questions wash over me. You can tag DJ at DJ Martinez, at The Welder, at Paint Fumes. DJ will respond to any of those things and more, and you can leave a super chat at any point in any dollar amount, and that guarantees that your question, comment, concern is a topic, a brilliant notion is discussed. If you have oceans of notions, leave some of those for us. Maybe not all of your notions, but some of them. Within reason, we'll talk about anything and everything, especially things related to pop culture, science fiction stuff, comic books, superhero things, Star Trek, whatever you guys want to talk about. Hey, look, it's the Because Cheese shirt, which you can get yourself at TeePublic. Here is our lovely TeePublic store. You can get shirts like the regular Geekvolution logo in a couple of different ways. There's the Superhero Rewind shirts, but we also have things now like There Are No Exits That Way, Wolverine, and the aforementioned Because Cheese shirt, which is an old inside joke that I'm not going to explain again. But for those of you that are familiar with that, and it is just kind of a funny shirt by itself. DJ, it's somewhat silly and ironic for me to wear this shirt because I don't even eat cheese anymore.
That's true. You're such a hipster, Cap. Capster.
I need a beanie to go with it. Real bad, clearly.
I cannot. Please wear a beanie the next stream because I cannot imagine you in a beanie.
Yeah, I would.
Just let your hair down.
You own 1,000 movies? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, someone, Robert Wild, just asked Paint Fumes how many Blu-rays he owns, and I told him 1,000, and I know for a fact because I just did a video where I went through all 1,000 of them, and it took forever, and I'm in the midst of editing that behemoth right now, and I think it's going to be about 4 hours long.
I was going to say, how many videos is that going to be? Are you going to post it all at once, or are you going to? I would post it in parts.
I know, yeah. That's what I'm debating. I think a lot of people do it in parts, or if I just want to just be a purist and go all the way. Who knows? We'll see.
That's a good segue for this announcement, which I mentioned last night on Superhero Rewind and in a couple other places, but I'll mention it again. The next episode of Superhero Rewind Unscripted is going to be about my superhero movie collection. And DJ, just the movie side, that is 300 strong.
Wow.
Just superhero and movies based on comics. And I just recently logged all of them. I don't know if I told you about this, but I have a Letterboxd now list with everything I own as far as movies go. They don't let you put TV shows.
I saw you did that. Yeah, I saw that on Letterboxd.
Yeah, I thought folks might like to see that, see just what the library is. And that's kind of a neat thing to look at because you can see all of my scores for movies I've done rewinds on. And that'll never be 300 strong because some of those are not superhero movies because it's also, as I said, movies based on comics. So not everything will get a rewind, but it's kind of fun as I knock them out to see just, how many ratings end up being in there. I might go in at some point and put the links to all of those videos and podcasts so that people can, have a real quick reference to those. That might be cool. But anyway, I just wanted to put that together in case people were curious as to what exactly was back there. And occasionally, people will find obscure stuff they want to send me, and I haven't opened a P.O. box in years and years, but I'm kicking around maybe doing that again because some of, not begging for stuff, DJ, but some of the weirdest, most eclectic things, in the collection are things that I didn't even know existed and that people, viewers sent me in the mail. And that's some of the most interesting things back there. And no matter how much research you do, there's always stuff that you don't find out about, especially weird indie movies and foreign stuff. And not every foreign language movie needs to be on Rewind because with my goal of reviewing every superhero movie ever made, it's just English language and American films because, that's already way too much, it turns out, but it would be even more way too much if I, particularly with Japan, if I did, everything on Earth, but it's still fun to own some of those things, so, and have them in the collection back there, so, I don't know, I might do that again, but even if I don't, it's kind of fun just to see what's back there. So I'm finally going to do a collection video and show you guys everything I've got. Recently, I've started collecting again, and I've got some new really cool box sets. I finally picked up the Batman animated series Blu-ray set, the Superman one. I finally got all of the Batman on Blu-ray, and some other really cool things that I won't tell you about yet, that I'll just show you next week. And I'm thinking about even pulling the trigger on a couple of other things before then. I'm not sure yet. But yeah, so once again, welcome everybody. Thanks for being here. Let's go ahead and get into everything. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. Before we do the lead-in topic, let me also mention Friday night, Austin and I are going to be doing another blind commentary, and it's going to be for the Marvel Halloween special Werewolf by Night. It's like 55 minutes, I think. We're not going to watch it ahead of time. That's the day it will pop up. So most of you guys won't even have had a chance to watch it yet. So especially if you want to watch it, first time out, just seeing our initial reactions and kind of reacting with us in the comments, feel free to come in. It'll be sort of a watch party. And we're going to do a double feature that night since that's short with the original Wolfman film, which I've also never seen because I'm not a big horror guy and I haven't seen all the Universal Monsters things. So we're going to watch that first. of course, and then we're gonna watch Werewolf at Night right after it. It's also short. It's only like 55 minutes to an hour long, so we'll have about 2 hours of movies. It'll be our first double feature, as Austin mentioned last week. We do these little marathons for TV shows, but we've never done 2 movies in a row. So
That's awesome. I might watch The Wolfman along with you because I own that, but I've never watched that one either.
Oh, you should. That'll be fun. Well, and if you're
Join
there,
you guys
you're welcome
live.
to pop in with us too. If
Oh
you
yeah,
happen
I guess
to
I
be around
could.
that night.
I guess I could do that. I didn't even think of that. Still the mind of a subscriber even after years of working with you.
No, invite yourself. It's fine. You keep the train running here. We really appreciate it. Nobody would be here if it was just me by myself every week. Twice a week. Anyway, so let's go ahead and get into tonight's lead-in topic. DJ, I know this is a thing that's kind of near and dear to your heart. Jump in at any time. I'm sure this will be a lot more of a back and forth kind of thing. But there is some news that came out last week that I thought we could use to kind of springboard off of. And honestly, I had this thought as a topic even independent from this, but then I went looking, has this been an issue lately? Oh yes, that's right, it has. I forgot about this. There is a TV show, we're right back to Zaslav Wave. There's a TV show that Warner Brothers not only stopped selling and canceled last year and then took off of streaming services, but also even took off of digital platforms where you have purchased the thing and you no longer have access to. A thing that ostensibly you own, you no longer are able to watch because Warner Brothers is getting rid of things for the sake of tax write-offs, which means that they can no longer sell them. The dicey thing is, okay, if you can't sell it, but you sold it already, then should you be able to leave it in a library? And I don't know if they dropped it from those things for legal reasons, where we can't even technically own the thing anymore because we got rid of it. Not only can we not sell it, but we can't even have it anywhere. Or if they just went, oh, I guess if we're axing these things, we're taking them off from everywhere, and they just were careless, and it didn't even occur to them, oh yeah, people owned this, they purchased it. It's not like they can walk into your house and take your discs away, but they can take it off a server. Disc. I'm sorry, DJ, are you there? That was weird. I didn't hear what DJ said, and then now he's gone. Okay, let me try to call him right back. Sorry, guys. This is weird. We got through the whole intro, and then now there's no DJ. I don't know what's going on. Well, it looks like this is probably on his end, so hopefully he's unavailable. DJ has better things to do. Well, now I'm trying to decide if I should go ahead and continue on with the topic or wait until DJ comes back in. I'll just read some comments here. Robert Wild talking about Werewolf by Night. I actually heard that's good. I think you guys should watch it before the stream, honestly. I had that thought. That was the thing Austin really wanted to do, was comment on it as we're watching it. And if it's good, we may come back and do a review of it as well. But hopefully that works out okay. He says, I'm still here. I'm still watching. Okay, but why is it not? That's weird. One second, guys. Okay, I don't know what that was about, DJ.
I have no idea.
Yeah, so you said you never lost connection.
No, the stream never cut out. I was still listening to you, and I'm still responding in the chat. My internet was fine. It was like Skype just dropped me, and then it never rang when you called me back. That was so weird.
And you know what people are going to say. They're going to be like, you guys are the last people on Earth still using Skype. This is what you get. And my rebuttal would be, this never happens.
Yeah, this never happens. It never just drops me for no reason. And our connection is fine. I don't know what, that was weird.
No, the irony with Skype now is back when everyone was using it and I had to use Skype call recorders and we weren't broadcasting live yet, we had issues with it all the time. It cut out
Yeah.
constantly. It was completely unreliable. And when we were using Google Plus, that became the reliable option. We avoided Skype like the plague. And then that went away, and I started using Skype again at about the same time that everybody else moved to Zoom.
Yeah.
And it's been really reliable ever since then. I don't know why everybody doesn't use it. And then that happened.
Yeah. Well, who knows? I don't know. Maybe they're in league with Zaslav, and he heard us talking bad about him. So they.
Well, you think
they
he just shut the whole stream down? Like, wait, I'm the one on a soapbox about this right now. He gets rid of the moderator.
Without the moderator, he'll be doomed.
I did kind of just make that comment. Maybe he was just taking me at face value.
Yeah, that's what you said.
Well, anyway, let's get back to the topic at hand, shall we? Giant freaking robot. Warner Brothers is deleting purchases of their digital content off your library. Warner Brothers has had content like Final Space deleted from users' digital libraries without warning. Now, I would like to know what other things besides this Adult Swim show, and I don't know anything about this show, by the way, but it's a cartoon, it's an Adult Swim thing. It was canceled in 21, so last year, something called Final Space. When it says content like Final Space, I'd like to know what the list is. I'd like to know if there are other things this has happened with, because this is all I've heard about, but that's enough, because it kind of gives proof to the fears we've all had, or a lot of us, I guess, me certainly anyway, since the very beginning of people, getting rid of their physical libraries, not buying physical anymore, relying entirely on streaming, hoping that, against hope, that 100% of everything that's ever existed would be on Netflix at some point. Really funny how far away we are from that, where Netflix is having a hard time competing now, and at one time people thought that was going to be the ticket for $12 a month. I can watch everything that's ever... No, that was never going to happen, you guys. And it's really hard for me not to say kind of, I told you so. Like, people are suddenly surprised. Like, oh...
Yeah, you've been talking about this for years. I was going to say, you've been a doomsayer about this, about they can drop stuff whenever they want. You have no power because you don't own anything. And you were right.
Yeah, and just because it took a long time for it to happen, didn't mean that there wasn't reason to be concerned about it. And some of it's just the principle of the thing for me. You pay full price for a thing, and you don't technically own it. And it's completely out of your hands. And really, you're going to trust large corporations to keep your stuff intact for you. Like, imagine, this is absurd, of course.
I didn't even trust movers to move my Blu-rays for me. I had to do it myself.
This is absurd, but imagine that you buy a thing, but there's this, like, physically, right? You got a coffee table, and you bring it to your house, and you sign a piece of paper with fine print, red fine print at the bottom, DJ, that says, okay, you own this coffee table, but if the people that made the coffee table, if that company ever decides they want it back, or they go bankrupt and they need, money to deal with their bankruptcy, they can come into your home and take it. You'd never buy that coffee table. But all day long, people are doing this with media, and I think the reason it's different with media is because, well, part of it is we're being kind of programmed. We're being kind of indoctrinated into this idea of disposable entertainment again. When I was a kid, it was still, like, being able to own movies was still enough of a novelty that, like, everybody wanted libraries of everything they liked so they could watch it over and over again. And do you agree with this, DJ? I feel like Hollywood has been slowly, over the last maybe decade and a half, trying to train us to watch things one time and then move on to the next thing. They're like, they almost don't, like, they will resell us stuff sometimes, but more often than not, the idea is, let's go back to the 30s. So let's go see a thing in the movie theater one time and then never see it again, or see it in the theater and then see it when it comes out on video, and then pay full price. Oh, you own it. You can watch it anytime you want to. But what they really want us to do is go pay full price for the next thing. So what they're really selling us is the potential to get to keep rewatching our favorite things, but not actually selling us the thing.
Yeah, absolutely. They looked over at the video game industry and they're like, "Whoa, we can get them we can make the same movie every generation and have them keep paying us for it and keep making money off of it, and that's amazing. We'll just do that." Like like you always say, I don't need to see Ghostbusters again. Afterlife, I own it. I can watch it whenever I want. Not if you can't watch it whenever you want because you can't own it, and you haven't seen it since 1984.
Yeah, well,
Which
and
is
you
a lot
mentioned.
of people now. People don't own, people think I'm crazy when I own physical media, much less as much as I do. Just owning physical media at all now is weird.
Yeah, and the question, and because I don't want to get too far away from what we put in the title, but the question is that going to change again when people start realizing, oh wait, I'm at the mercy of corporations, and sometimes it's not even the corporation's fault, I should say. Sometimes it's, and I predicted this too, and I'm not saying I'm a genius. I didn't understand why everybody wasn't concerned about this when it became the norm to get to for the primary way that you owned things to be it's on some server, some website somewhere, and then you pay full price for it, and then you can go look at it when you want to. I'm sorry, I'm distracted. There's crying children upstairs. But you hopefully they'll be going to bed soon. Anyway, but you I forget where I was going.
You were talking about how you couldn't believe that everyone didn't see this coming. Seemed pretty obvious to you.
Yeah, because if you don't own the thing physically, you can't, of course, be sure that you'll always have access to it. And you mentioned video games earlier. That's been driving people, it seems like, crazier, like gamers in that industry, even more so than with movies, because people are really worried about game preservation. I think people should be worried about TV and movie preservation at this point, when you look at what Disney is doing in putting out all this new content and not putting any of it on physical media. That's another reason that I think it could start to be more in demand again. People wanting to, even though it takes up space, even though it's not as convenient, just to know that you can look at it again. Because what if like Loki or WandaVision or The Mandalorian is your favorite show, and you want to watch it over and over again, and you want your kids to be able to see it, and you want to see it 20 years from now. Like I said, disposable entertainment is the name of the game now. And then Disney has you over a barrel, so so in order for you to keep watching it, unless you want to illegally record it or something, but again, that would be illegal, you have to have a subscription and keep paying for it forever. You can't assume that any company, even Disney, as insane as this will sound to people, will be there forever.
I mean, you just said about Netflix. We all thought Netflix was there for the long haul, and now they're struggling worse than with the best.
And that's
of them.
the point I was trying to make when I was distracted earlier, is when one of the things that I didn't understand why everybody wasn't concerned about was, well, what if you buy a thing from a smaller company or a newer company, and not even thinking like there's a potential for Netflix to eventually maybe file Chapter 11, or Warner Brothers gets bought up by Discovery and they have huge financial issues and they feel like they have to get rid of stuff in order to survive, things that you paid for and you don't have access to anymore. But just like smaller companies, some of which are defunct now, and that people did buy digital purchases from that they can't get from anymore. Like, you can't expect these places to be around forever, and I think maybe people just, some of it was people not looking 5 inches from their face, and going, well, I want this right now, and I don't want it to take up space in my house. And I understand people that like live in small places and can't and don't have the space for everything.
Yeah, it's a luxury, of course.
It is a luxury, and it is really nice to be able to have those things on demand and right at your fingertips, and to be able to watch things on any device whatsoever. Like, I'm not disparaging digital media, but there needs to be some kind of assurance that, again, if you bought a thing, especially if you paid full price, like, I'll never understand buying full price comic books, $4 or $5 for a digital thing. You don't even have it in your hand, and you have to read it on a tablet or your phone or your computer or something, and then someday you might not have access to those things. That's already happened with people with Comixology. It didn't take very long. And like, you can't always know for sure that you're going to have that. So the question is, are people starting to get wise, and will there be a big enough demand that these companies will be forced to bring back physical media in order to keep people interested, and for people to not like turn away from traditional media and to just independent folks making stuff in their basements? Because the kids growing up aren't even watching TV and movies as much as we did. And you're going to get to a place where I don't think these companies are going to be able to have as entitled of an attitude. But I will say, I don't think we're that close to it yet. I wish we were. I don't think we're quite there yet. But what do you think? What's it going to take? Are we closer than I think we are?
No, I don't think this is going to change too many people's hearts and minds. For whatever reason, we've just kind of decided, like, it hasn't happened with books. Like, people still buy books. Books are doing a lot better, but because that's a different experience. Like, but even I'll obviously there's a little bit difference. Like, it's a little worse quality if you're streaming something, but it's basically the same experience. Once you put it in the player, it's the same experience on the screen. Whereas, like you said, books and comics, you're actually having a completely different experience.
The same thing with video games. You're getting the exact same experience.
Yeah. So I understand people who are just like, I don't want to deal with this hassle anymore. Like moving. I just had to move, pack up 1,000 movies and put them in boxes. It was a pain, but like I'm always going to have those unless I get disc rot, and we don't actually know how long DVDs last, so they could all go out in 10 years anyway. But yeah, I don't know.
Well, we know they won't go out in 10 years because I have discs from like 1998 that still play fine.
Yeah, that's true. They'll be here for at least a little bit. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think this is going to change too many people's minds because it doesn't seem like, I don't know. It's like a different mindset, right? It's the people that are like, oh, I'll just buy this on digital. Doesn't seem to be the same people that are like, I need to have this so I can watch this. I don't do streaming services. I do this as an alternative. I want to build my own library. Like, I don't know. I'm sure there are some people that do that. But I think it's just an overall mindset that's shifting towards not rewatching things a bunch.
But here's what I don't get then. Why not just rent it? Why pay $20 to own a movie if you don't plan on going back to it very much? I think there are quite a few people who build digital libraries who talk who talk about ownership. Like, I have 400 movies, and I become prudish about it. I go, oh, where are they in your house? No, I own 400 movies on Vudu or whatever. Yeah, no, you don't. Like, you sort of do. But the day will come where you don't have those. And you're right. Like, nothing lasts forever. And you can't expect companies to find some way that you will always have access to a thing. So, like, if the and I think this is sort of absurd, but if the argument is kind of what you were saying, jokingly, well, if you buy a DVD, or let's say you buy an old game cartridge, like, eventually the thing's not going to play anymore, or, old VHS tapes, like, you're going to run it through so many times, it's going to become unusable anymore. But you know what? At least, but I bought it. At least I had it, like physically on my person, and like, I used it up until it couldn't be used anymore. Like, everything is finite. I think that's kind of a baseless argument.
Yeah, well, I mean, I agree with everything you're saying. I wish we had a defender of digital media here to like give their case, but like, I don't understand digital media because, I mean, other than the convenience argument, I don't know what else there is, because it doesn't give me the same kind of serotonin burst to have it as having it physically in my hand does. Like, as a collector, I can't look at my computer screen and see like a bunch of posters and be like, yes, this is my collection. But maybe some people do.
Well, and I can't see how you can argue with it's making a lot of companies or at least it's one of the many what's the word I'm looking for? It's one of the many factors that's making companies more anti-consumer, I think. How could you argue with that? Again, you look at Disney, and it's like the streaming model, the subscription model is the ticket now, see, and we're going to try to get, like, you know, all 8 billion people on the planet to have this service for that one show, at least, that they have to watch all the time. And just all these strategies that they're using to try to make it to where you can't just go in and pay for it for a month out of the year, or just use a free trial for a few days.
Yeah.
They want to own, like, every person on the planet's like $10 a month, or whatever it is now, you know, forever. And like, it's good business on their end, but at what cost, right? Like the sad thing about it is, again, disposable stuff. Like, you can't be sure that even if you have a subscription to Disney Plus for the next 50 years, and I would be shocked if there was a Disney Plus, even Disney, even as big as they are, is there any streaming service that's going to last that long? Like, here's the thing. There are models that we're not using that could make this all more consumer friendly, where I would more shut up about it. If you could legally, and there's all kinds of reasons you can't do this, and I get that. There's no perfect answer to this, except put everything on physical and give everybody the option, so that I'm joking when I say this, but so that I can say I told you so and laugh at you when I still have all my stuff and yours all goes away, because websites get shut down, or when there's like an EMP worldwide and there's no internet anymore, and I'm like, well, but as long as we've still got power, I can still play my DVDs and my Blu-rays. No, I would be really sad for everybody that, and I have bought stuff on digital and not physical, particularly video games, quite a bit, because it's just, it's not as convenient anymore. We've had this conversation, like, well, I say it's not as convenient anymore. The big reason that I've done that is because with video games, you're actually not getting everything on a disc anymore. And even Switch is this way now. Nintendo has finally gone this way, where what is the difference? When you buy a disc or a cartridge or something to put in your player, or to put in your game machine, and then to download the file, the only difference is, okay, I'm collecting a physical object that goes on my shelf. That's it. Like, you still have to download the thing. Okay, fine. I give up now. If I'm going to play video games new, and that's partly why I don't do as much of that anymore. But if I'm going to buy new games, I guess I'm just buying them digital. What is the point anymore?
Yeah, that's a struggle that I'm going through with Switch too, because it's a hindrance. It's not just the same, it's worse, because you can lose those little tiny things, and you can't lose it if it's downloaded.
If it's a big enough game, you still got to wait 2 or 3 hours for the stupid thing to download.
I know, it's like worse. It's like they're punishing you for buying it physical.
But here's the point I was going to make. I think the only way to solve this becomes such a big legal issue that you'll never see this. And I said this going all the way back. Like, it's weird. My feelings have not changed about this since like the early 2010s. If only I could download a file to my computer that I own. It's not on a server somewhere else. It's mine. I have it, and I have the option to move it to another hard drive, or to put it on a disk. And again, I know what everybody's saying. Okay, but now it's easy for you to copy that and sell it to other people, that's illegal, and that's why you can't do that. But barring that, or forgetting about that for a second,
because I can't take my Blu-ray off my shelf and just go and make another one of it, like you can with the digital.
No, but you could rip it. If you had the hardware. Now, very few people have that. Very few people even have a Blu-ray player that's functional in their computer.
Yeah. It's ridiculous how hard that is to still do in 2022.
Yeah, it's wild. And I'll mention part of the reason that I thought of this today is because I've started, like I said, buying more, trying to catch up my superhero and comic book collection, movie collection, and DJ, for a long time, had to have everything on DVD, even if I had Blu-rays also. That's why when they stopped doing the Blu-ray DVD combos for everything, my heart kind of sunk. Because I was like, well, crap, I'm going to have to buy the inferior format and get made fun of by everybody for not having things in HD. Like, well, the best you're going to get from me is 720 because I need to be able to copy, speaking of illegally copying things, I need to be able to take footage and take stills for Rewind for videos. And now that I'm not doing that anymore, and I've gone to a total podcast format, and I don't think I'll ever go back to putting stills and footage in video because A, it's too time consuming, but B, I'm constantly getting copyright flagged. It's not worth it. I don't even know if you can if you'll get to see the video, and I hate that, but there's no way around it. And we've retained enough of an audience, and folks seem to like what I do enough that I can get away with that. I've finally stopped feeling the need to buy DVDs for everything, and I'm buying Blu-rays again. And so you'll see in my collection next week, there's still some really recent superhero movies that I bought on DVD and don't have on Blu-ray, which is very strange, just because I thought I was going to need them for Rewind. But anyway, so suddenly I'm collecting more again, and I set up, because I was mostly with my my projector down here, DJ, playing things directly from my computer into the projector. But then if I wanted to play a Blu-ray, I had to go to some other TV in the house because, like you just said, I couldn't do that from the computer. So I finally have set up a Blu-ray player with this machine, and I've got this whole other setup for that. And I've been watching a lot more stuff on disc lately, and I don't know what it is. I've started really appreciating, discs. I don't want to say over streaming, but I guess for a long time I was mostly doing streaming, and I had this collection kind of just to have it. And I was like, I'm never pulling discs out. And I've started looking at special features more again, and I'm having fun with discs, and I'm like, it's really hurting my feelings. All the things I'll never have on disc. Like that kind of drives me crazy.
Yeah, that, like you said, that is their whole model. Disney Plus is just cram as much content out as possible, but not put any on physical so that they have to keep it if they ever want to be caught up or if they ever want to rewatch it. Like none of that Star Wars stuff. That's a shame that Star Wars stuff is not going to be physical. Like I know MCU is a big deal too, but like Star Wars is the history of Star Wars.
Yeah,
it's just crazy.
And again, how do we preserve it? Like, when Disney Plus, if Disney Plus ever goes out, because there's been all this talk lately about how there's not really money in streaming, even though that's the direction home video is entirely gone, and you've got a lot
crazy
of
that everybody has jumped on board, even though it's not a ship that's got out of port yet.
Doesn't make
Everyone's
sense.
like, this is the ticket.
And I guess that's the other part of this discussion is it might not even just be consumer demand that would drive it. We might get to a place where it's like, well, we actually can make more money going back to the old model.
Yeah, I don't know how far gone we have to get before they realize that.
But if Disney ever moved away from streaming, would they find themselves going, oh, here's all these things that we could make money with again if we released them finally on disc? You know, kind of like back when I was growing up, all the animated Disney movies that had never been released in any way that were coming out on VHS for the first time and then finally DVD. But the thing is, those were all movies that were released in the theater that people went and saw, and most of them had, followings and decent returns. I think there's quite a bit of just disposable stuff, or stuff that even I think Disney would think of later as disposable, where they're just trying to fill weeks, like you said, to make sure that people keep their subscriptions, where they might go, well, WandaVision, enough people are probably going to buy, but did the Groot shorts do well enough to put on DVD,
Yeah, did Moon Knight do well enough? I didn't really hear a lot of people talk about Moon Knight.
Yeah, and it looks like it might not get a second season because it didn't do well enough, and there was hope for that initially. Would they even bother putting those out? And TV shows can be a different animal than movies.
Mm-hmm.
They might think there's just not enough demand for it. So, some of this for me is like a selfish personal thing where I'm trying to build as much of a complete library, and that's getting crazy because Disney's putting out 18 superhero shows a year now. not
I would
just
love
movies.
I would love modern day Captain Logan to go back in time and tell 2010 Captain Logan that you're going to own 300 superhero movies in the future. Like, you wouldn't even start at Superhero Rewind. You'd be like, whoa, not doing that. Good grief.
Think about, oh, yeah, or maybe I'd go, oh, so there is money in it, you know?
It's true.
Maybe there's. I
Job
wasn't trying to make
security.
money back then. I was just doing this as a hobby and hoping I could build a little bit of a following to maybe sell books too. That's how I started. But I probably would have been like, oh, I didn't think there'd be any interest in this at all. It's kind of nice to know that you know, in like 12, 13 years, there's a big following for superhero stuff. People would watch my videos. But then you're right. I would also be overwhelmed. When I started, do you know how worried I was that I would run out of material in the first couple of years? Because I was doing it every week, and I was like, okay, how many superhero movies are there really? Like 75, 100? That's including like really obscure stuff. And now I'm like, I could do this till I'm 70. I'm never gonna get it all done. Even if I did 52, like nose to the grindstone reviews a year, and none of it was TV and none of it was lists, it would still take at least a decade to do everything.
Yeah. You're good. Job
Maybe
security.
not. Maybe that's also including TV shows. You know, if I did 52 a year, well, no, counting animated movies, I'm actually not sure if I could do it in 5. Maybe 5. My head would explode. That's a lot of formulaic nonsense.
Yeah, that'd be like Spawn Year on steroids.
Well, let's go ahead and go to questions. We'll keep having this discussion. We'll see if folks want to keep talking about this. Actually, let me finish a point that I started to make a minute ago, which is just well, I guess I made that. Disney Plus at some point goes out. Are you going to get all of that stuff on disc? Are enough people really going to care? Like I don't know, and I guess in a way, like we as media fans are maybe kind of entitled or like don't appreciate how good we have it because obviously before the advent of the VHS player, nobody was thinking about film preservation, at least like at home, right? Like people weren't thinking about, you know, how many times am I going to get to see this thing. Like owning a movie was a big deal. There were VHS tapes in the 80s that cost upwards of $60-$70. Like not all of them. A lot of them were cheaper than that. But if there was a movie that a company thought people would pay that much for just for the novelty of owning it, you know, they would put a hefty price tag on it, and it was a big enough deal to people just to get to be able to watch it at their house, that they would spend that kind of money on it. It's crazy. So like times obviously have really changed, and like the idea, you know, folks back then, the idea that the majority of everything that ever existed you'd be able to own and you know, physically, digitally, or even for, you know, a few years and then lose it, they might go to the future and say, cry me a river. You know, if I saw like I don't know, Gone with the Wind when it came out and loved it, I would have to wait for like a revival theater to put it out, or you know, decades before it finally came out on VHS and actually buy the thing. But something else to consider is that it also affects the way things are getting made. It makes stuff more like often feel more disposable, right? Like stuff being made to go more with the formula, to take less risks, to say less, to be about less, and then you have the question of whether some of this stuff is worth preserving anyway.
Yeah, so much stuff gets pumped out. Like you said, just to fill that quota, just to show in that one row on our streaming service that new things that dropped today or things that dropped this week, like new titles. And no one watches that stuff. Like, who watches Netflix originals anymore? They put out like 100 of them a month. Like, it's impossible to keep up with that stuff. And Netflix doesn't put this stuff out anymore. You were talking about the things that you lament not owning. Like, they stopped putting out the Netflix shows, the Marvel shows. They did the first seasons and then they just kind of petered out.
And now Disney Plus has them, so those will never come out.
Mm-hmm.
Or if they do, it'll be a really long time from now.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem like Disney has some sort of plan in their back pocket where like they're gonna wait until Disney Plus is like 5 years old and then suddenly start putting out a last. Honestly, I was kind of worried that they wouldn't continue putting their theatrical films out. I was a little surprised that they kept doing that because those things all go to Disney Plus also, and you could see the day where that stops.
Well, and
why not?
You were talking about in the 90s when they put out all those VHS tapes for their animated stuff. They still don't even have confidence to do that. Like the ones that have never been released on Blu-ray they're finally releasing those on Blu-ray, like Black Cauldron and Three Caballeros, but they're Disney Movie Club exclusives. Like I only get access to those because I'm part of that Disney Movie Club.
Right? I didn't know
and
that.
They don't even have confidence that those will sell enough to do a wider release. They just release them on that site.
And again, we're kind of having two different conversations, I guess, because
we're kind of all over the place.
Yeah, some of this is the collector argument. Like, I want to be able to have access to these things to have 100% collection, or because there's certain things that I just really like that I want to be able to own. And some of it is I don't trust that if you only have it digitally, I'll still be able to watch it 10 years from now. So I want the physical so that I'm able to do that. Those are kind of two different arguments.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Two different motivations for the same argument.
Yeah, well, it's probably my fault. We just evolved into physical media talk.
No, that's okay.
Just because I enjoyed that. Connor's also in the comments, and he's loving the conversation.
I just wanted to put that into perspective, though. Okay, let's go ahead and go to Super Chat, shall we?
Yeah, we shall. And I think we'll come back to this topic a little bit here and there with the Super Chats. The first one is from Jar Jar Ed Sucks, and they want us to know for $5. Just wanted to reiterate that Jar Jar Ed still sucks.
Oh no, they're at it again. Is this the Tuesday show now?
This is just the Tuesday show. I think they're trying to start it, so we'll see. We'll see if anything comes of it. But the next one,
Jar Jar Ed does not suck because he has been in the last several almost straight streams, and I think he's left at least one super chat in each of them. So he's been supporting us. He's been saying amusing things and asking cool questions, and I appreciate that, guy. So Jar Jar Ed sucks. I don't agree with you that Jar Jar Ed sucks.
No, all of our
and I'm not taking sides in your personal feud that seems to be about nothing. I'm just saying that at least for my own selfish reasons, I cannot say that Jar Jar Ed sucks. Okay, go right ahead.
All right. Senior Sticks, $2. I have a way to return physical media, Doctor Strange.
What?
I don't know. Is that a quote that I don't understand?
Not immediately getting that quote.
I have a way to return physical media, Doctor Strange. That was Senior Sticks.
I don't understand that right away.
It might be a quote.
Is that a quote from No Way Home, or that one's over my head.
Fill us in, Senior Sticks. Maybe it's my delivery. I don't know how else to say it. I don't know.
I read it too. I'm not getting it. Anyway, moving right along. Thanks for the super chat.
Thank you for the donation. Oh, here we go. Who's Richard E. Grant has a super chat for $5. Who's Richard E. Grant? Wrong answers only. Oh wow, we're so hip. This is like a social media thing. Wrong answers only.
Richard E. Grant is this kind of thing is easy. If I can just say anything, if it has to be a wrong answer. Okay, I'm gonna say Richard E. Grant is Ulysses S. Grant's second cousin.
Oh man,
lesser known second cousin.
The lesser known of the Grants.
Yeah. Who was his tax preparer? He did Ulysses S. Grant's taxes.
I'm gonna say Richard E. Grant is a failed paleontologist. He did not. He's also a brother. No, what did you say? A cousin?
Yeah, second cousin.
Yeah, he's the second cousin of. I can't even think of his name right now.
Of why can't I think of it either? A Grant from Jurassic Park.
Well, yeah. He's that guy's cousin. Wow, we're really failing at our Jurassic Park.
Well, as soon as I said Ulysses S. Grant, now I can't think of his name. I obviously I know what it is. Yeah, and he doesn't believe that raptors were descended from birds. So he and Grant just argue about that all the time. Every time, like when they're at Thanksgiving, it's like, ah, crap, these guys are going at it again.
Yeah, because he failed paleontology, so he's just wrong about everything. He's like, they don't travel in herds.
Alan Grant, yes.
Alan Grant, there it is. Oh, I should remember that because
I'm sure people said it in the comments. For the record, I didn't look at the comments. It came to me finally. It's Alan Grant, and you know how I did it? You know how I remembered it? The stupid dream sequence in 3.
Yes, in 3. Alan. With the talking raptor. Oh man, did they put that in the trailer? They should have put that in the trailer to trick people into thinking they were actually talking raptors.
I think that's part of the reason it's so infamous. I think it was in the trailer.
That's amazing.
I think people went to that movie thinking they were going to see talking velociraptors.
Robert Wilde put quotation marks Alan and then dash velociraptor.
It's quoting it. It would have immediately made that last terrible Jurassic World movie like 5 times more fun if they finally just threw their hands in the air and went, yep, talking dinosaurs.
Talking raptors.
Because at this point, like, they've got no shame anyway. You know, if you go like, well, that's too ridiculous. That's jumping the shark. Nah, the shark's jumped. Like at this point, we really need Sam Jackson with the robot arm, and we really need like Professor Velociraptors giving lectures at colleges. Like, where is that in my like bad, over the top, ridiculous, no shame, has complete creative bankruptcy Jurassic Park movies?
That's not what the people want, Cav. The people want locusts, swarms of locusts. That's what sells.
I don't think most people like that movie any better than I did. So no, Jurassic Plague was a bad idea, and
so weird. What a weird choice. All right, Goofster.
Everything about that was a weird choice.
Yeah, I don't think I'm ever gonna see that one.
Goofster... Don't. Your brain will thank you, and it's just such a waste of time. And I had this conversation
long and bloated, like all of those movies.
I had this conversation with somebody recently. Maybe it was Austin. The idea that, like, Jeff Goldblum being, like, kind of a walking self-parody is starting to get old. Like, I like Jeff Goldblum a lot, but, like, at the point where he realized he's kind of a weirdo, it stopped being as much fun, and it's just, like he's just become a meme. And you can say that about a lot of guys, but, like, that's a thing that never really happened to Walken. You notice that? Like Walken will be in silly movies doing his Walken thing, but it never felt like he became, even with everybody that does Walken voice and makes fun of him and stuff, it's like he somehow has managed to wall that off and still just be himself. Goldblum, it's like, now I gotta act like Jeff Goldblum. You know, it's
yeah, because they hire you, they want you to do that. They don't want you to just come in and act. Like, they're hiring you because they want you to be yourself.
Well, I think he's too amused by it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's hard not to lose perspective. Like,
sure,
it's hard not.
Hey, we're going to pay you, Jeff Goldblum.
We're going to pay you millions and millions of dollars to just be yourself and goof around on set. Like, it's hard not to. I mean, ask Chris Hemsworth. It's hard to say no to that, I guess.
Yeah, but like I've seen him in interviews where he's kind of like psychoanalyzing himself too much, like deconstructing himself and like how his brain works and why he's not like other people. And I'm like, I never needed to listen to Jeff Goldblum talk about Jeff Goldblum. You know?
Yeah, I haven't heard any of that.
Like the fact that he's thinking about all of that in deconstructing it himself. Anyway, let's move on. I love Jeff Goldblum. Don't get me wrong.
All right, Goofster123.
Apartments.com.
Goofster123, $10. I am an avid VHS collector and older media like Laserdisc and Betamax. Do you guys have any movies/TV you prefer on those older formats? For me, it's Disney movies nostalgically.
I can't say that there's anything. I don't even have a VHS player hooked up at the moment. I have a working one, and I recently got a Laserdisc player. I haven't hooked it up and messed with it yet, but a friend of mine gave me one, and that's Adam, who used to be in Star Trek Club. He just had one laying around. I guess he's got two now, and he was like, "Hey, do you want one of my Laserdisc players?" I'm like, Adam, never change. He and Brandon, man, with all their old
one
media.
Of my Laserdisc players. What a great sentence that any human would say.
That's a guy who's not self-aware about how nerdy he is, and that needs to never change. I love Adam. But anyway, there are VHS tapes that I'm nostalgic for and that I occasionally will consider putting in the player and watch that way like I did when I was a kid, but I don't actually actively do that. The closest I get is there are a couple of movies that I feel the need to go on YouTube and search out the old commercials that played before it on VHS when I watched them and when I showed them to my kids. So whenever we watch Batman 89, we watch the commercials that were in front of the tape. But I can just pull them up on YouTube, so I don't feel the need to watch it in lesser quality, because that movie does look really great on Blu-rays. So, or digital streaming.
Yeah, I don't own any VHS anymore, and I'm too young to even own the ones before that. But I left all my VHS tapes at home when I moved out like 8 years ago now, and even before that, I didn't pop them out at all. But if I did, it would just be for, like you said, the nostalgia of the trailers at the beginning, because that's something that we don't even get to experience anymore. Like, you can just skip them, or a lot of them don't even have them anymore. Just go straight to the menu. And but it was never for like the quality. Like, I didn't want it to look grainy. I know a lot of people have that. I know a lot of people listen to records because they want to hear the pops,
the scratches and stuff.
Yeah,
I can actually see that with music a little bit more. Maybe.
Yeah.
As long as it's not too scratchy. But like, I can kind of see the charm to that. But yeah, I don't.
My wife has a record collection. She still plays records in her house.
We have a record collection too. We don't play them enough. But there are things, and you know what I'm talking about with this DJ. There are things that when you upscale them, they don't look as good, or there are too many like obvious mistakes and things that come out that didn't when you watch them in a lower quality. Things that are filmed, especially like filmed on VHS. You don't want to see anything filmed on VHS in high def. It doesn't look good. And some things shot on particular cameras, or I don't know what else, but like there are some things that don't look good if they're upscaled too much. But that doesn't mean I want to watch them like as inferior as VHS. Like,
yeah, the seeing like the guy's eyes in the Ninja Turtle costume for like 2 seconds is not worth the trade-off of like the whole thing being fuzzy and shaky.
Yeah.
But and also that depends on who's like doing it. Like, you can transfer anything correctly. Like, I've seen films that the Criterion Channel that Criterion Collection puts out that were made in like 1912 that look like they were made like yesterday. Like, but that's a lot of work to clean them all up, like every single frame and stuff. And things aren't gonna, not everything's gonna get that treatment. Like Ninja Turtles, they're not gonna like put all this money into restoring like Ninja Turtles or whatever.
You know what they should though?
I bet I would love it.
That love that. I think you actually could maybe make some money on that, or you could at least break even.
Yeah, to actually go in and fix all the frames. But yeah, I don't have that. But I understand. But he says the original Disney movies, he's actually onto something there, because you can actually look up frames side by sides online of the original Cinderella, and whenever they transferred it to DVD and Blu-ray, they like destroyed it. Like, the original Cinderella, her dress is like white, and there's all these intricate designs in her dress, and then you look at the side by side on the Blu-ray, and it's just like her dress is blue and it's just flat.
Oh,
and they've cut out so much detail.
So you're not even seeing the thing as intended.
And I'm not actually. I haven't looked into it. I don't know why they had to lose that much detail when they went to digital. But yeah, everyone look up the Cinderella side by sides, because that's kind of like a meme that people send around online, because it's like night and day. It's really sad.
Yeah, and then you get this perception, right, that like everything is better because it's in high definition or on this superior format. And then you hear about things like that, and you're like, well, you'd never know it, like any kid that grew up with the Star Wars Special Edition versions of those movies doesn't know what it was like in the theater, and wouldn't have the perspective of there is something to be said sometimes for less is more. Like, do we really make that any better by throwing so much extra stuff in the frame and all of that. Which is a little bit of a different example, but you see why I'm bringing that up. Where you wouldn't necessarily know unless you were nerdy enough to do the research and like find out what was changed.
Yeah.
And then with only looking at things in streaming, there's also the worry about censorship.
Well, yeah, you can. That's the other thing. Well,
when we didn't talk about that earlier.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, what you just said before that. The only reason that we know that now is because people on YouTube are like doing side-by-side comparison videos. Like you wouldn't realize, like you wouldn't remember back when you saw it when you were like 5 as a kid that all this detail was getting lost. Like,
but if it's your favorite movie and you watched it last week and then you bought it on disc and then you might notice it.
Yeah. If you watched it a week, but I don't know if people are still watching the VHSs this close to it.
So that's a matter of quality loss. But then there's just sometimes like artistic choices that are made and to change a thing. And I don't just mean like as brazen as what Lucas did with the Star Wars movies, but things like let's put the Matrix out in a different color palette.
Yeah.
And then
there's a lot more subtle things that directors do that flies under the radar that they don't make a big deal out of.
And then let's not make it clear on the box anywhere that it's going to be different. So if you buy that, because you and I have been having this conversation a lot lately, that people who collect physical movies specifically don't tend to have multiple copies of the same movie. You just expect it's the same movie. And so you just keep upgrading. You're like, you had it on VHS, and then you bought it on DVD, and then you bought it on Blu-ray, and then you bought it on 4K. People that because I hear people all the time say, with things like Star Trek, like I've bought the original series. This is not me personally, but I've heard people say like I bought the original series 4 different times. They don't own it 4 ways. They sold it every time they bought it, right? And you might buy it and it not even occur to you that something was changed. And I think, honestly, those things should be made clear, like, on the front of the box, Like when The Matrix was re-released in a different color palette, and there's now more green in the movie than there was blue, it's a special green tint edition, like that's what it should have said.
Yeah, that's a big one, actually. Like, usually it's like they cut out little scenes here or there, or they tweak things, but changing the kind of feel of the whole movie is a big one.
But it occurs to me that I should also put things into perspective in this way, DJ, and talk a little bit about, like, I want to play both sides of this about how much better we have it in some ways than we did when I was a kid, because you talk about quality loss and you talk about seeing things not as intended. All growing up, when people rented and bought things on VHS when I was a kid, they were missing parts of movies and didn't even know it because they were watching it in the wrong aspect ratio. Like this movie was formatted to fit your screen, and you're watching a 16:9 thing on a 4:3 screen, and you're missing whole swaths on the sides and sometimes even top and bottom.
Oh yeah, and you cannot convince.
At least that's not happening anymore.
Sorry, I'm not trying to disparage the elderly, but like, when that was back 10 years ago, you could not convince an older person that it was better to have the black bars on the top and bottom because you're getting more of the screen. They're like, no, there's all this blank space. It's not filling. I'm like, no, but it's not filling. It's not stretching. It's like it's pushing it off the screen. You're missing stuff, but they didn't want to hear that. Same thing when you try to explain to someone about the soap opera effect to turn off the like de-smoothing feature on your TV because it makes it look like a high school production. Like I'm so furious that they're still putting that on TV. Stop doing it.
And it bothers me that people don't notice it and don't turn it off. And if you're even able to turn it off, I don't know, but like, and I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, so I won't name any names or anything, but there are people in my family, I don't mean like in my household, but my extended family, that every time we go to their house, these are people that watch TV all the time. It seems like the only people I know that keep that have that feature or keep it on. I guess I have opinions about this, because I didn't know what that was called. I just know it looks wrong. It always feels like...
It doesn't have a name because every TV provider calls it a different function, different feature, and it's really confusing. And I don't even know how to explain it to somebody, but it's basically like
it feels like a frame rate problem.
Yeah, it smooths out. It's made for like sports and like news because it makes it because film is shot at a different frame rate, so it So
It looks
it's not
realistic in the
realistic.
wrong way. It's
Yeah,
like it's like you were standing there while they shot it.
yeah, it puts you like behind the camera and you're like seeing it realistically.
I hate it. I can't deal with it. And it
Yeah.
seems like the only people I know that do that are people who watch TV a lot.
Well, the problem is the stupid TV manufacturers put it as a default for most TVs, and you have to actually turn it off. And these people don't care. I'm not going to go into the stupid menu and turn it off. Like once the
How
guy
do you
came to
not
my
notice
house
it though?
and mounted it, I'm
How does it
done.
not drive you crazy?
I don't know. It makes it look like a low budget like theater production.
And I'm not a prude about quality. Maybe compared to my wife I am, but like I still watch a lot of stuff on DVD. I don't even have to upgrade everything to Blu-ray, and people think I'm crazy for that. I'll probably, unless I'm forced to, never go to 4K. Like my eyes aren't good enough. I can't tell the difference. Like what's the point? I gotta upgrade my projectors. I gotta upgrade my Blu-ray players. I gotta buy like a $200 or $300 thing like in every room that I No, like I'm good with Blu-ray. But that's too much. I can't deal with that.
Yeah, because it's not like a clarity thing. It's like a motion thing. Like your eyes instantly pick it up because it's so jarring because we're so used to 30 frames per second.
I'm so glad you brought this up because I've always wanted to complain about it, and I never knew how to articulate it.
Yeah, it's the worst. Stop putting that on TVs, and especially stop making it the default. If someone wants to go in and have a better sports experience, like let them go in and do it, but don't do it to like my parents who don't know how to shut the stupid thing off.
A couple of people lately have been complaining that we don't have a special rant segment anymore. There you go. There it is.
Yeah, knock that off.
Knock
all right.
it off.
Robert Wild, $2. Cap, thoughts on Top Gun Maverick?
I still don't have any. My wife and I did not get a chance to watch that over the weekend. I was hoping we would, and we were just too busy with. We had some company over, and I mean I don't need to explain myself, but we just didn't have a chance to watch anything this weekend actually. So hopefully soon, and when we do, I will talk about it somewhere. That's all I'll say. I'm not sure how I'll do it yet. I don't know if I'll do a full-on review or if I'll just bring it up for a few minutes here on the Captain Logan show. I always want to say the live show. It's like
the live show.
Everything we do is live now.
Yeah, well, it used to be the live show.
It did. It's true. It used to be special. Now it's not special anymore. Now we do everything the same way.
Yeah. I kind of wish we could just keep this going and see how many years we could get people to leave super chats asking you your thoughts on Top Gun Maverick and you just never watch it. But we won't do that. He's going to watch it.
No, I'm not going to do that. Cap, why won't you watch it? Because you guys keep giving me money. No, I'm not going to do that. I do want to see it. Well, and again, last weekend, not this last weekend, but the weekend before, I wanted to watch it, to go ahead and get it knocked out. And Sarah was like, well, it's been a while since we've seen Top Gun. Let's watch it first. I was like, fine. So we watched the original Top Gun. We just haven't seen the new one yet.
Yeah, this is an amazing concept. Jedi Knight says, now I'm imagining Cap and DJ sneaking around, fixing random people's TV settings. That's an amazing show. We just break into people's homes, fix their TV, and leave.
We just go in with GoPro cameras?
Yeah, that would be awesome.
We're it looks like
we're vigilantes. We're doing good.
I was gonna say it looks like we're violating people's privacy and stuff, but we're actually performing a public service. Yeah.
We're saving the film industry one stranger's television at a time.
Can I make one more point about the physical media thing that I didn't get a chance to say earlier? And it makes a lot of sense, obviously, because it's just a simple supply and demand thing that we don't have rental stores anymore. But if you did, if there was, if you still had rental stores, or if you still had more prevalent kiosks where you can go, rent DVDs and Blu-rays, Redbox. Those are still around, but there's not as many and people don't use them as much. It wouldn't be, as far as preservation goes, as big of a deal, except you might waste your money, like buying a thing you thought you'd own forever and then lose it, but at least there'd be a way to go get it. Like, I wouldn't even be as on about this if services like Disney Plus, I mean, at least in the short term. It's still a problem in the long term. You don't know if these companies will always be around, or if they won't do what Warner's has done and start getting rid of things just for the sake of tax write-offs. But if Disney, for instance, would just make everything available for digital purchase, and you didn't have to have a streaming service in order to watch it, that's at least sort of a step in the right direction. You still have the same problem that like you bought it, you don't really own it, but at least in the like immediate future, or like I'm trying to figure out how to say this, like short long term, like the next 20-30 years probably, people at least could keep getting those things even if the streaming thing went away. But like they're not even doing that. It just doesn't seem like they care how long their stuff lasts once it's out, and it's news this week and then it's not next week.
Mm-hmm. I saw Matt Damon. I think it was Matt Damon. Oh, I wish I remember who it was. I'll try to look it up. He gave in an interview recently. He was talking about how movies didn't have to, it wasn't all riding on the theatrical experience. Like it didn't have to make all of its money back in the theater because we could count on this later sales of physical to lift it back up. And now things are like make or break. If they don't have a good opening box office, then like the companies are already like, well, scrap it, cancel it. We're canceling the whole franchise because
which is why things become so safe, and why it has to be all about the franchise.
Yeah, people aren't taking risks, and everything that's made has to be exactly what's popular right now because that's the only thing that's hit. That's the only stuff that strikes the match. Everything else just falls by the wayside.
And that's why it's so scary.
It's hurting filmmaking.
And that's why it's so scary when you hear, oh, streaming services aren't profitable. Because you go, well, that's where the interesting things are being made.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll have to look up that interview because someone posted it on one of the collection groups that I'm in, and I was like, wow, that was interesting that he understands that in the industry. So it seems like maybe a lot of people understand that. It's just like the big figureheads, they're the stupid studios that are just cramming this stuff out.
Yeah, well, and that's another thing that it kind of has in common with the gaming industry right now is it's a little different, but you have these AAA studios, and if they have one bomb or one game that doesn't get at least like a 8.5 or a 9 out of 10, like it can tank the entire studio. Like everything has to hit, everything has to be huge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was Matt Damon. It was actually on Hot Ones. He started talking about this.
Oh, interesting. I started watching that.
It's a fun show. I mean, I like that kind of thing. That's my kind of podcast. It's just people just talking, just interview kind of style. I haven't got into that one.
Was really good.
Oh, cool. That's interesting. I didn't know he did that.
I've watched a few of those. The one with Shaq is hilarious.
Well, it helps because the guy is a really good interviewer. He comes up with great questions.
Yep.
So that's what sells the whole thing. If he was just asking dumb questions that every press interviewer guys, then it wouldn't be a show, but he's really good at it.
No, he's spectacular, and he plays it
He does his research.
You're going to think I'm silly. I don't think I could watch that show if he made the other person eat all the hot stuff and he didn't also do it.
Oh, yeah.
Like
that's true.
I like that he also keeps up with it, because when I first watched it, I stayed away from it for a long time because I was like, this looks like an exercise in torture. And I don't like that. But somehow it's not if the interviewers also... Now it's just sort of like a dare thing where it's like, I'm going to do this thing, you do this thing.
And they don't have to. Like, they can stop whenever they want.
No, it's an oddly classy show.
Yeah.
For what it is.
And he's just stays... I mean, yeah, it's what you got to do. Like, there's 1,000 interview shows. You got to add something to it, but at least he's good at his job. Like, it wouldn't last if he wasn't good at it.
Have you seen the one with Gordon Ramsay?
I haven't. No, I haven't seen very many at all.
Somebody counted. He said the F word like 66 times in that video.
Did they bleep every one?
I don't think. I don't think they bleep swears in that.
Oh, okay.
I think you can swear on that show. I forget.
But yeah, there's a video on YouTube.
Look, a YouTube thing I know about.
Yeah, look at that. The video is called Matt Damon Explains How the Lack of DVD Sales Changed What Movie Studios Will Greenlight. And it's just like a little 139 clip from that show.
When I was a kid, you heard that all the time. Like, of course, Siskel and Ebert would talk about it, but like you'd hear analysts a lot talk about movies that bombed in the theater but had a second chance on video, and it was really significant. Like, if they didn't do very much business in the theater, but then they had a really good advertising campaign, a really good word of mouth on video, it would change everything. Like, you could get sequels made sometimes to things. They might be direct to video, but like you could get sequels made to things that did horribly on the big screen, or you'd have these things that would become cult classics or better, that if they'd only had that first run, nobody would have known about them later. And you'd also get things that didn't get wide release. I've been listening to a lot of old Siskel and Ebert lately, so this is kind of relevant. It's in my mind. Where they'll talk about movies that didn't get a wide release and then came on video, and for whatever reason, word of mouth or something, now they have like a huge success in and it's like it finally got a wide release, because the video would be available everywhere, but the movie was only in select cities when it was first released.
Yeah, that's a fascinating topic that I don't want to get into here. But how long before do we still continue to get cult classics?
Everything's so splintered, and we talk about that all the time. Like, what even would be a cult classic now?
Well, that's one factor, but also like with things not being rewatched as much and things not owning and people and companies not putting out their content, like how would it? I guess it would just be they find it on Netflix. Everyone finds it on Netflix.
Or bootleg.
Yeah, which I guess is what a cult classic was like way back in the day.
In certain ways, it feels like we're going all the way back sometimes, right?
Yeah. The Star Wars Christmas special that Weird Al buys.
Yeah. In White and Nerdy, yeah. Which now is just available. I think, does Disney Plus have that?
I don't know.
I can't remember. Can you just watch it now?
I haven't looked for it.
I feel like there's places you could just watch that now.
I would think so. Especially now they're putting out a new one. Or already have.
Maybe I've told this story. Did I tell you over the summer I finally watched a couple episodes of Star Wars Droids? Because that's on Disney Plus. That was that like animated, what was it, in the like late 70s? I'm sorry, was it like the early 80s? Was it like 81, 82? And it's got like Boba Fett's in one episode, I think. There's an episode with a character, and I think it was also in the title of the episode, there was a character DJ called Kybo Ren.
What?
Yeah, Kybo Ren. And I went, well, that can't be a coincidence. There's no way they didn't go back and look at that when they came up with Kylo Ren.
J.J. Abrams' favorite character as a kid was Kybo Ren.
Yeah, there was a character named Kybo Ren. I forget what he even was, if he was like a bounty hunter or what he was.
Wow, that's crazy. No, I haven't even heard of that show.
Oh, no, he was... yeah, he looks like an ethnic stereotype.
Well, it's Star Wars.
But yeah, this is this is what he looked like. It's Kybo Ren.
Wow. Might as well name him Fu Manchu.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, what else are folks asking about in the super chats?
All right.
And then you know what? Do a super chat and then go to pre-written if you don't mind, so we don't shaft that.
Oh, sure. This is going to be a big one though. So strap in. Balin's Cubicle. 199 thoughts on the Black Panther trailer and Namor.
Oh goodness, I heard that a new Black Panther trailer dropped and I forgot about it and I haven't had a chance to look at it yet.
How was that not we should have put that on the thumbnail for today. We totally forgot.
Probably so, but that's okay. I wanted to talk about this. I will try to watch that for Thursday, and maybe if there's enough to talk about, Thursday we'll just make an overall trailers lead-in, because the Mario trailer drops on Thursday, and I'm definitely going to want to talk about that. Here is the poster that just dropped, I think, today for the Mario movie, and the style looks great. I have to admit,
like that,
I don't trust Illumination because it's Illumination, but right away, hey, it's Mario. They're not messing with it. It looks like what it ought to look like, and honestly, just based on that, it looks like the amount of detail and everything, it looks like Pixar. I mean, it looks better than Illumination. It's really pretty.
Yeah, it's interesting because Illumination, their animation is good. It's just the style they always pick. They pick like the Grinch movie looks good. It's just they pick they didn't make it look like a Dr. Seuss thing, and the style was weird.
It's character models before it's anything.
Yeah, it's just like I don't like what the minions look like, but I mean their quality is fine. So as long as they stick to what Mario looks like, yeah, that looks good. At least it'll look good. We just have to hear their voices come out.
The
which is going to be
rumor,
so distracting, man. I wish that was just. I wish I didn't know who was in it, and it was just like no names, because it's going to be so distracting hearing voices that I know so well coming out
and
of
I wish they wouldn't sell
Mario
it that
characters.
way. You know, I
Yeah,
wish we were just selling this on it's Mario. You know what Mario is? We made a movie. The end. Like I thought that's all. I wish that's all it was, but it's gonna be your standard Illumination thing. Here's all these people you recognize. Go see this movie, and it's like give us more credit than that. Give Mario more credit for that. Like everybody's gonna want to see this. I feel like that almost shoots you in the foot for at least I keep saying this, but like prudes like me that immediately see that and are turned off and don't want to see a thing.
yeah.
Just sell
It's
it on the property.
especially a property as big as that. That's been around for that long and is so ubiquitous. But
And,
that's just what we do. We just put names on animated movies. That's how we get adults in
and
there.
we've waited 30 years for it's been that long for
How
another
did
Mario movie.
Illumination get it? What?
I know.
Why?
It's insane. But
Yeah, I mean, if you cast someone that could do like a like a Joseph Gordon-Levitt Jiminy Cricket, and I didn't notice that it was him playing Mario, then fine. I don't care that it's a name. I just care that Chris Pratt has one voice. Like in Onward, it took me out. Him and what's his face in that.
and I want to think maybe he'll put on enough of a voice here that either you can't tell it's him or after a while you won't notice anymore. But if it sounds too much like the regular Mario voice, you're going to go, well, why didn't you just get that guy?
Yeah, yeah. I hope
He
he
almost
does.
can't win.
Yeah, there's nothing he can do unless he does a flawless Mario impression. That's
But
the
even if
only
he
way.
does, then you'll go, well, then why didn't you get the whatever his name is? Why didn't you get the other guy?
Yeah, well, because that's what you do. Like the fact that they snubbed all of the Scooby-Doo actors in Scoob is unforgivable. They've been playing them for literally 50 years. I mean, obviously, Casey Kasem died, but Matthew Lillard has been taking up the mantle for 20 years now. And the fact that it was like, oh, they're younger, so we're going to cast younger people. And they cast a guy, Will Forte, who's older than Matthew Lillard to play Shaggy. I was like, what?
Yeah,
What is the
change
point
just for
of
the sake of
that?
change, yeah. And if he doesn't
Oh,
sound different enough, then what's the point?
I don't understand. That's just what we do.
But I think that poster looks neat, and you know, I want to be cautiously optimistic about this, but I also don't want to get my hopes up because it's Illumination and they've steered me wrong too many times. Having said that, like you go back far enough, I like the original Despicable Me fine. I think it has a really predictable, obvious third act, but I like it overall.
Yeah,
They've
it's a
made some
solid, it's a
okay
solid kids
movies,
movie.
but it's
It
been
didn't.
a long time.
Yeah, that's what happens. They made a good movie and then they just steered into that skid because Minions got unbelievably popular. And then they just made what they make two more Despicable Me movies and then two Minions movies and then a Grinch movie that's basically a Minions movie.
The good news with this though is if there's enough quality control, and that's like that's gonna be the name of the game, right? If there's enough quality control on it, where this is almost a case where I actually want the original company with all my issues with Nintendo, that I actually kind of want them to micromanage a little bit, maybe. Like if they're doing it the right way, like here are you can't have potty humor. Here's what the Mushroom Kingdom is supposed to look like. Here's what the internal logic of it more or less needs to be like. If this is really super successful and the quality control is there, you might get a lot more Mario movies, but you could also get a bunch of other Nintendo properties. Like
Yeah, that'd be cool.
it could branch off, shared universe or not, whatever. But like it could branch off into a bunch of different kinds of movies if Illumination is ringed in a little bit. And that could be good. There might be certain companies that you'd rather get some of those properties, but if they're done well and they don't all have to look the same, like you obviously you don't want your Metroid movie to look like your Mario movie, but if it's like Mario did well, so now we're going to do the and it was really true to the source material, and so we're going to take the same approach aesthetically and atmosphere, etc., with Metroid, then with Zelda, then with Kirby, then with whatever. That's great. Go to town. Like Illumination can become the Nintendo studio. That's fine, as long as the quality control is there, and that's the approach. That poster would tell you that's the approach. Like that.
Yeah.
It is screaming. We hear you. We know what Mario is supposed to look like.
And it's epic and grand. It's not like a picture of Yoshi making a goofy minion face to sell it to kids. Like, no, they're like, we are taking this seriously. Like, this is the whole kingdom in that poster, which is cool.
And it's got Peach's Castle, and Jason's been telling me about some really deep pulls that he already knows about. Like, it sounds like they kind of know their stuff, and I
That's
don't
awesome.
know.
I hope they just let them do their thing. Like I want it to be like a Lego movie or
Yep.
Wreck-It Ralph. Like it doesn't have to be just because it's a huge IP doesn't mean it has to be just a cash cow. Get it out as quick as possible movie. It can be good.
The rumor is that it's going to be another origin thing, but I think that could work okay. Where it's a,
Mario's so not a story for me that I you could tell me anything as long as the characters are there.
and
Like
it's not a story. Yeah, that's what's so nice about it is it's real ubiquitous. It's real versatile. You can do anything you want to do with it. That's
yeah,
actually kind of the fear is Mario is supposed to be a blank slate. So once you give him a character and you try, like you almost don't want it to be too character driven. Or
yeah.
if it is, it's real risky and like I don't know. Do you want Mario to have like a a hero's journey kind of story? Like, do you want him to have a lot of self-discovery? That's never been what that character's been about, but it's a story, it's a narrative medium, so what do you do with it? I don't know. But apparently it's supposed to be, or the rumor is, it's, Mario's first time in the Mushroom Kingdom. I'm fine with that. Because it doesn't look like, at least, again, I don't want to base too much on that, but like it doesn't look like it's going to hold your hand too much. It looks like we throw him in the Mushroom Kingdom, and there it is, and there's lots of
Yeah,
cool stuff that you recognize, and
because like that's I know it's hard to imagine that now because he's been around for 30 years, but like that was the original concept. Like he's a plumber dropped into this weird kingdom. He's not part of it, right? Like that's what it should be, I think.
yeah. So I mean, you could tell a story where he's been there a while, but I'm fine with he's a plumber, and then this is a really weird place I'm in, and I gotta go save a princess, I guess, and
Yeah. No, I mean I'm holding out hope for it. And the voices in that are so cartoony and silly that's not going to be a huge deal breaker for me if because I don't need them to be 100% accurate. And they barely ever talk anyway. It's mostly just when you're playing the game. So I'm hoping that I really like it.
uh,
And then we can get that Donkey Kong movie.
there's a part of me that wants. I just thought of this. There's a part of me that when the logo for the movie comes up at the beginning, if it does, because you can't always even be sure of that anymore. That like you're gonna see the name of the movie, but if it comes up and it's like Super Mario the movie, I kind of want to hear Mario because it's like this is the beginning of so many of his games going back like 25 years. Super Mario the movie. I kind of want that.
No, it'll be at the very end and it'll go Christopher Nolan style.
We have to have an origin for his hat. What if because you're expecting the movie to be like the princess gets kidnapped, but in our with modern day sensibilities, there's maybe going to be that worry of, oh no, we can't just make her a damsel in distress. She has to be like a strong female character. So either she'll get kidnapped, but she's like punching Bowser out and stuff, or she's escapes herself right before Mario gets there, that kind of thing. Or it's not that at all, and the whole movie is just a vulture comes down and steals Mario's hat. And
Yeah.
he spends the whole movie traversing various lands trying to get his hat back.
Yeah, well, that's what they do in the modern games, right? Like the 3D Land game, you can play as Toad, Yoshi, Mario, or Toad, Luigi, Mario, or Peach, and you're just like saving fairies from all the castles, just like generic colored fairies, which I'm like, whoever this is, the purple one. But yeah, maybe they'll do that.
Yeah, I think we should get to a place where Bowser every game is after something else that's just something different that's just completely preposterous. Like, he stole Mario's pizza.
First Angel Grove and then the universe.
Or like, oh no, Bowser's running for president. We really have to stop that from happening.
Well, I don't want to get into all this because we'll probably talk about all this on Thursday. But
yeah, it's true. We've talked about this too long based on a
But does
poster.
giving it a narrative?
Is it okay that I'm like more optimistic based on a poster?
Absolutely. That means they understand the source material enough to appeal to your taste as a fan.
Visually, with like that one image. But there's a
Yeah,
lot going on in that image. Like
visuals
Toad
are a
looks
big
like
part of
Toad, and
the film medium. So I think that's totally fine. You're not saying that it's going to be amazing because of the poster, but
no, I'm not
your
like
interest is
obviously
peaked.
this is a great movie. Now I'm just, again, I don't trust Illumination, but like I'm more cautiously optimistic. Like,
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Before I'm cautiously pessimistic, which I coined a couple years ago, and I keep saying that about a lot of things where I'm like, there's a chance that this is okay, but it looks terrible, and so yeah, cautiously pessimistic. But
Yeah.
I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see on Thursday what that looks like. I'm excited to see that trailer.
Yeah, we'll have a lot more to say on Thursday. We'll have more to go off of. Oh, we didn't even answer the question. He asked us our thoughts on the Black
was there a
Panther
question
trailer.
that led to all this? I don't even remember. My apologies. Go ahead.
Balin's Cubicle brought up the Black Panther trailer and Namor,
right.
and then
well, no, I did answer that. I haven't seen it yet, so we'll talk about it Thursday.
Okay. I gotcha. Yeah, we'll definitely talk about that.
Sorry, that's why that happened. Yeah, it was that I sidestepped that to talk about something different because I didn't have I had forgotten to watch that, and it gave me a segue because I had that poster pulled up and I wanted to talk about it at some point.
All right, cool. TH1, $5. Adult companies like Brazzers, I don't know how to pronounce these, and authors allow you to download content directly to your computer. Why not main companies like Disney? Great show tonight, guys.
Because those main companies are worried about people illegally copying stuff and making money off of it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the answer.
Yeah, we basically talked about at the beginning. Just because some companies are doing it doesn't mean that it's obviously a much bigger problem if you are selling, things by the millions.
And I didn't realize that there were some smaller companies doing that, and I guess that's cool. But they're, and is he talking about when he said adults? Did he say adult stuff?
I think he means like adult films.
Yeah.
But that's a whole different.
It's a whole other world. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a whole different industry.
That is, as far as I understand it, kind of more and more desperate to be able to make money because nobody pays for porn.
Yeah, that's almost like the YouTube Red thing, right? It's like it's just a perk of paying for it because no one pays for it anymore.
Anyway,
Mr. Locke is back. $5.
Hello, Locke, or Mr. Locke. Pardon me. I'm being impolite.
Yeah, Locke was my father. Most of the time, I don't like Connor.
Oh no.
But he's here, I guess. Story of my life.
I want to know what percentage of people that have jumped onto this actually don't like Connor.
Yeah, they're finally like, yes, I finally have a meme that I can participate in. No one will know that I actually hate him.
Yeah,
I can pretend like I'm just.
It's just part of the joke. It's just part of the meme. But in fact, I secretly am able to publicly talk about my distaste for. By the way, Connor and I are going to do a video this weekend. For those of you guys that don't like Connor, I'm joking. Sunday afternoon, the plan right now is to do a review of the first season of Sandman finally. When it was closer to when that released, we were going to just do the first couple episodes and do a sign flip video. But now that it's been out longer, we're going to try to watch the whole season this week and talk about it a little bit on Sunday. Austin, even though he reviewed the comics with me, isn't going to be able to make that because it's Canadian Thanksgiving this weekend, and I can never remember that. He keeps going, hey, Cap, stop trying to get me to do things on Thanksgiving, and I'm like, it's not Thanksgiving for me. I don't know. And he keeps saying it like everybody would know that. He was like, no, it's Thanksgiving. I'm like, it's Canadian Thanksgiving. It's different. But
the international holiday of Canadian Thanksgiving.
Well, he's not even, of course, calling it Canadian. He's just like, that's Thanksgiving. I'm like, no, it's not.
That's hilarious. I didn't even know they had a Thanksgiving.
I didn't either.
That's really funny. Yeah, Connor. Who wouldn't like Connor? Connor's a delightful guy. I'm recording a video with Connor tomorrow. He's such a friendly guy. So fun to talk to.
He is. I like Connor. Most of the time, I like Connor.
Yeah.
Is he still here? I kind of hope he's not still here.
He is. He has a super chat that I'm about to read.
Oh goodness! Thanks, Connor. I'm half making fun of him and
giving us money to insult him live on camera.
Well, this is our new last show, folks. Anyway.
All right, Zach McLean.
Yeah.
$5. Forget not liking Connor or Jar Jar Ed sucking. Burger King still exists. Sigh.
God, how many inside running gags are there? I can't keep up with all of them. Like
this guy is keeping the Burger King one running by himself. I think. I don't hear that. I don't know. Maybe not. Does people hate Burger King? Is that a thing?
It came up on
I
the show
hate
a few
Burger
weeks
King,
ago.
but I
I
never knew
like
that
Burger
was the
King
thing.
fine, or I used to when I ate hamburgers. But here's the thing: I only if I have to get fast food now, I only eat chicken. And the only chicken sandwich the last time I was at Burger King you could get is the McKing, which is like the size of DJ's head.
5,000 calories.
Yeah, it's huge. Like I would have to eat that thing in 3 sittings, and that's not gonna heat up well. No, it's
The
like they put an
McKing.
entire chicken between 2 pieces of bread.
Well, it's better than KFC, who once had the double down chicken, which was just a chicken in
I remember you
between
talking
2
about this.
pieces of breaded chicken. Does anybody remember that? Oh man.
Why
Yeah,
in the world can't you get a regular sized chicken sandwich? Unless they have it, and I just didn't see it there. But one
I thought that
time,
was pretty. Yeah, I thought every place had to have at least a regular chicken sandwich at this point. That's crazy.
1,287 calories.
That's like half of your daily. 2,400, I think.
They
Is
have to have a
like
regular chicken sandwich, and I just didn't see it on the menu, right?
That's amazing. You got bamboozled by their menu.
You've been bamboozled. Oh, I know why you love that word. Anyway,
That would be amazing if they said that after any time someone bought the chicken, they're like, "You've been bamboozled," and they give you your food.
and then there's like a sound effect of chicken.
Chicken. We just made another $5 off of some doofus.
Okay, moving right along. Thanks for giving us reason to make fun of Burger King. Oh, I was
Anytime.
gonna say, you'd think that with all of these running gags lately, that we would have at this point eclipsed White Castle, but it came up again. I noticed just last night on Superhero Rewind, and I didn't catch it during the live stream, so I didn't get a chance to mention it. But afterwards, I saw that, and I was like, "Oh wow, it's still around."
Still around.
And
Um,
it will definitely have a resurgence when Ironheart comes out. There's no way around that.
but yeah, that's going to be an institution after that show. Oh, but it's a movie now. I wonder if
No,
that.
it's
What
not.
if they? I thought Ironheart was a movie now.
No, that's so there are 2 Iron Man things. One's Ironheart, one's Armor Wars. Armor
I
Wars
can't
is the
keep it all
movie now.
straight.
They did not suddenly decide Riri Williams was worthy of her own film. A character that hasn't even been seen yet, who nobody cares about in the comics, but is getting a miniseries anyway for kind of no good reason. No. It's War Machine. It's like War Machine is getting his own movie as opposed to a streaming show, which totally seems fair. And we
Yeah,
talked
that's
about
cool.
this on the last Captain Logan show. And he thought it was Ironheart.
I can't keep all this MCU stuff straight, man. It's like a full-time college degree to keep this stuff straight
But no,
these
really,
days.
did you not realize what Ironheart was?
No, I knew that it was like Iron Man's daughter type thing, or like passing the torch type thing. I didn't know what Armor Wars was. I didn't know it was a
Okay.
War Machine thing.
Fair enough. Yeah.
I didn't know that's what they were doing.
What's
with the
weird
movie.
about Armor Wars is that's a old comic event that Iron Man fans like Austin are irritated about because like we killed Tony Stark and then we finally do Armor Wars without him. But it's kind of weird that like that was a big comic event, and obviously we've done movies based on big comic events, but it was going to get a miniseries like it was a miniseries in comics, and now it gets turned into a movie. It's kind of odd the way these things are going back and forth. But then Secret Invasion gets a whole show. But I do think Armor Wars has the potential to do pretty well as a film because Rhodey's been there since the beginning, and it was kind of weird to just dump him off in a TV show and not give him a movie. I always thought he should get a movie, but then I also kind of wanted that for Falcon too.
Yeah.
But that's just because I really liked Falcon, and now I'm not as excited about Falcon because I didn't like that TV show.
Well, you can still have a great movie despite that, I think.
I hope so. But I'm a little leery of it, but we'll see how it goes.
I'd like to see a phase where it's like a War Machine movie, a Falcon Cap movie. I don't know what you would do for Hulk. Maybe a She-Hulk movie, I guess. Like the phase 1 again, but with the next generation. Anyway,
But they would all be sequels to TV shows you wouldn't know if enough people saw.
Well, that's just what they're doing to themselves with this Disney Plus show. I don't.
Yeah.
They're digging their own grave.
I
don't
guess
know
they'll know how many people saw them.
Yeah, but they won't tell us because they don't release those things unless they do really, really well.
And if they do tell us, we're not going to trust their numbers.
Yeah,
because you saw what Warner Brothers did with HBO Max.
Yeah, and streaming services like autoplay stuff and count that as a view. Like I'm trying to watch the stupid credits. Stop skipping the credits. I'm in such a. I'm gonna punch Amazon through the screen. I'm watching Lord of the Rings and like this epic finale of the episode ends, and I want to hear this awesome music that's playing, and then it just skips to the next. And it plays the trailer because I'm all caught up. I don't want to watch the dumb trailer, Amazon. I want to watch the credits from the thing I just watched. Infuriating.
Okay, but you know what? I'm also annoyed about that show because I'm watching something on Amazon that has nothing whatsoever even remotely close to do with that. And because they need that show to make $1 billion, no matter what I'm watching, that's what it autoplays to. They try, or not, it doesn't autoplay, but if you watch a movie on Amazon right now, at least this has been my experience, the last couple movies I've watched, the next thing that comes up, they're trying to get you to click on that. I will not be able to get away from that Lord of the Rings show for years because they need it to make so much money.
Yeah, and you can't even turn it off. I think on Netflix you can at least go in and turn off autoplay, but this one I've looked in the settings and I can't find a way to turn it off. It's so annoying. You have to like have the remote ready and it gives you like 4 seconds to hit the cancel button.
Well,
but I don't even want to have to do that.
We used to have that problem with Power Rangers. We were able to turn it off on Netflix.
Yeah, you can turn it off on Netflix. I found that, but I don't think you can on Amazon. It's really annoying. Because even if I can like cancel it out, if I have the remote right next to me in 4 seconds, like that takes me completely out of the experience I just had. Like the episode just ended. I want to live with it for a second. I don't want to have to frantically scramble around and find the remote.
Yeah.
It's not good.
All these new modern conveniences have created new modern inconveniences.
Yeah, that's the new segment, by the way. Knock it off. We're just gonna we'll give a rant and we'll say knock it off
and
at the
put
end.
that on a t-shirt. Yeah. Hey DJ, have we done any pre-written questions yet?
Let's do that. Let's jump back. The first one.
How you doing with the paint fumes?
I'm hanging in there. I'm getting a little. Yeah. It's. I think it's elevating my. my knowledge. I think I'm on point tonight. I think I might be doing better than usual.
I would think it would do the opposite.
That's true.
It should be eliminating brain cells.
Is my voice getting higher? Does that happen, or is that just like a gas
no, it's not.
situation?
It's not paint with helium in it.
I don't know what he used on here. I wasn't watching him the whole time.
I'm pretty sure you can't put helium in paint.
Oh man, what are we? Here we go. Okay, so
I don't know what's happening.
Oh, here's a good one from Jareth Gerhardt. What a cool name.
Yeah.
Nice rhythm to that.
Yeah, he's been leaving a lot of comments lately. Thanks, man.
What is your go-to horror movie for Halloween, Captain DJ?
Mine, I go back and forth between, and keep in mind that I usually try to pick something that's like unintense enough that I can watch it with at least my oldest kid. So although one of these I haven't shown Jason yet and I want to, but typically I go back and forth between Poltergeist and Flatliners. What about you?
That is a fantastic question. I am not a horror movie guy, and I don't typically go to. I don't associate horror with Halloween. I associate more of a subject matter with Halloween. Like it's not a genre. It's a atmosphere and like a vibe. You know, like for Halloween, I want like ghosts and like monsters and like that kind of feel. I don't want to watch a serial killer like hunt somebody, you know? It has to be supernatural for Halloween for me. Which
you're
most
not looking for
horror
jump
movies
scares or blood or anything super creepy. Like, yeah, just the vibe.
Yeah, which does not exist in not horror things. Like try to find that feeling in a not horror thing. You get like
very few.
What's that one from the 80s Eric actually turned me on to that I didn't love, but it's because I'm not really a big 80s movie fan. What's that one? It's like a kids movie where they let all the monsters out of the book. It's like the Goonies, but with monsters.
It Monster Squad?
Is that what it is? I think that's what it is.
What that's called? Yeah.
So that's not like a gory horror thing, but it's like few and far between. Like you got Scooby-Doo. Like for some reason, if it's a Halloween type thing, it has to be like really hard R horror stuff, which I'm just not that big into. Of those things, I do like Cabin in the Woods. That's one that
I
I
didn't
did
know that
like.
about you. I adore that movie. I did a
It's
rewind on that.
yeah, I love that movie. That's the one like traditional, if you can call it that, because it is kind of like uh
It's a deconstruction piece.
yeah, yeah, which is funny because I hate deconstruction pieces of stuff of genres that I do like. So I understand people that hate that who love horror
But that
stuff.
one's
Like
really clever, I think. But
yeah, yeah, but I hate Game of Thrones because it's just deconstruction of fantasy. Like, but and Game of Thrones is fantasy for people who don't like fantasy because it's literally nothing. It's just it could just be medieval times, and it just has a couple dragons that could just be a weapon because they don't talk, they're not a species, they don't do anything. All they are is just a weapon that comes in and wipes out towns. Like, I hate Game of Thrones. Never talked about that on here, but it's not fantasy. I don't like R.R. Martin's take on like coming in and doing a. I know you like his superhero thing, but I haven't read that. But like coming in and like making fantasy not fantasy is really, yeah, I don't like it. But anyway,
well, and Wild Cards isn't just him either. That's the thing. Is
oh
like it's a
okay,
bunch of different authors' takes. Yeah, that's all short stories in the same universe. So he writes some of them, and he's like the grand master of that thing. But it's a bunch of writers.
oh okay, that makes sense. But yeah, we've talked about before. I love Psycho. Psycho's one of my favorite movies ever, and that is a horror movie that I do like. But it is a little bit supernatural. They take the multiple personalities to a supernatural level, I think. But yeah, those are two I'll throw out. Let me go to one more pre-written. This is from Code Anime. Code. I can never know how to say that word. Code Guys Anime Fan. No, I'm not going to read that. That's a weird one. He said, do you think
Sometimes
that
you got to read them first. That can be really important.
Well, he said, do you think DJ is a good moderator? And DJ, do you think Cap is a good boss? Why or why not? He gave us an essay question. That is very self-indulgent.
Why or why not? Well, the answer to that is self-evident because I've kept DJ around. No, I think we have.
Yeah.
I think we have a good rapport. He's a good organizer. You know, he knows. He's got a good sense of like when to ask what sorts of questions and usually which ones to leave out.
Yeah. Well, I didn't read ahead. I wasn't prepared.
He can take a joke. I appreciate that about him.
Oh yeah, I have a very thick skin.
But mostly he's really good at things like graphic design, which I can't do. Like DJ's not just here for the modding thing. Like he started for graphic design.
Yeah, that's true. I started talking about Bates Motel. Speaking of Psycho, my first thing was talking about Bates Motel before I even did graphic design. It's so weird.
I've been thinking about going back to that show and rewatching it.
I thought about it when it turned October. I was like, oh, that'd be a fun thing to revisit in October every once in a while.
Because I've seen that first season probably 3 or 4 times through. And that last season I've only seen once, and it was pretty far after the last time I'd seen any of the other seasons of that show. I've never watched it all in close proximity to itself. And you and I were both a little bit iffy on some things with that last season, and I'd love to see if I could watch it all in a short period of time. I'd have a better sense of how well some of that holds up with the rest of it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's tough because I watched the first two. I think I binged the first 2 seasons.
If there's any big glaring plot issues, I'm gonna discover them if I can watch it a couple of months after first season.
Yeah, because and that's kind of, well, I don't want to get off on a whole tangent. That's just like TV in general. Like they kind of don't want you to rewatch sometimes. People are Robert Wild is vehemently disagreeing with me in the chat. He says House of Dragon is great. I haven't watched House of Dragon. I kind of am interested in that because there's a new Game of Thrones show out now. That's on HBO Max, but I canceled HBO Max a few months ago, so I might have to get that back and check that out. If you think it's great, Robert, sorry about that. I wasn't trying to insult your favorite show.
Man, there is a part of me that really kind of wants to cancel a few streaming services right now, because I mean I always end up coming back to them, but it's like do I use some of them? It's like do I use them enough?
Oh yeah,
I guess
and the answer is always no. You don't use any of them enough.
Yeah, but like, if you could keep track of it, you'd probably save money if you kept coming in and out, where it's like, well, it's been a couple months since I used that service. I haven't been paying for it, but finally there's a thing I need to watch. Well, you saved $8.99 or whatever. Yeah, like, there's nothing stopping you from coming in and out.
I almost brought this up earlier when we were talking about, that's what I want to move towards, is like only having them when I need them. And I think I'll make it out better on the other end than having them all the time. because I'm kind of done with Disney Plus right now. I'm not really watching anything on there. I own all of the Pixar and pretty much all the Pixar and all the Disney animated movies for my kids. And now, especially that I bought a lot of those like um, Disney Treasures that have all the old cartoons, which is one of the big reasons I was kind of keeping it to have those for them. Like there's nothing on there for me right now. I'm just paying for it for no reason. If there's the MCU show I want to watch, I'll get it for a month and watch it and then drop out. Because I'm not one that has to keep up with it month to, like every episode to episode. Like I can wait till it's done and just watch the whole thing in a week.
Yeah, I mean, there's a part of me that wants to like, maybe a small part of me that wants to like, be a crusader and stop paying for Disney Plus to be like, look, if enough of us leave, they'll have to put stuff on disc. But like, you're not going to be able to start a movement where enough people leave in droves where they're like, okay, fine, I guess Mandalorian finally gets a release because like, some guy got a petition to get like 1 million people to like, that's not going to happen.
Yeah. That'd be cool if we could get that started, but I don't think we could. Jar Jar Ed sucks. Puts in another $2.
I just don't know. I don't think he does.
He says, "Don't lie to yourself, Cap. Jar Jar Ed sucks."
Oh, okay. Well, I really appreciate that compelling argument.
I love those kind of arguments.
What a thoughtful rebuttal.
He really doesn't like that guy.
He doesn't. He doesn't. Now, the question you got to ask yourself is, would he still be so on about this if the guy had never changed his name to Jar Jar Ed? If he was still just Edward Bador, would he still be on about this?
Probably not.
He probably thinks he can get more people on his side because nobody likes Jar Jar Binks after all. So
yeah,
everybody's going to hate Jar Jar Ed. He's called Jar Jar.
Now I'm not going to be able to get out of my mind that Jar Jar is just a race and they all have Jar Jar in the name.
No, he's a Gungan.
I know, but like this is going to be much more in the front of my mind than going back and watching the first episode 1.
I want a bunch of people to just start putting like Boss Nass in front of their name instead of Jar Jar. It's like, I'm Boss Nass John. And then just before every like you got somebody named Boss Nass John and he starts leaving super chats, but before everything he writes, he somehow spells out How do you spell that?
Just a bunch of B's. Jar Jar is the key. All right, we're gonna get back on track here.
How many more super chats do we have? We're getting close to 2 hours.
We have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Oh goodness. Okay, let's rapid fire those because we've only got that many minutes left.
All right, 1 per minute.
Here we ended off in 2 hours. So go right ahead.
Brightburn, 1985.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
$2. In 1994, I owned a Game Boy Pocket. What about you?
Oh, neat. No, I did not. I did not have a handheld system of any kind until the Nintendo DS. I didn't grow up with them.
Wow, that's crazy to me because I had a Game Boy and a Game Boy Color and a Game Boy Advance and a Game Boy Advance SP. But you're much more of a gamer than me. I guess I was when I was younger in a way that I'm not now.
I was always about the consoles, and the big thing for me, like maybe if I was really excited about that and there was never a game that jumped out at me where I'm like, I have to have a handheld for this. Like, I wasn't a Pokemon guy. The kinds of things. So it's two things. The kinds of things I like to play were always better on a regular console, and everything on handheld felt like a watered down or dumbed down version of it. Like, there were okay platformers on handheld, but like I had Donkey Kong Country at home. I didn't need to go out and play that. I just wait till I got back. But the other thing is, I was, and I'm still like this, I have an extreme motion sickness issue in cars. And so if I had really wanted a handheld system and asked my parents for one, maybe I would have gotten one at some point. But I couldn't get excited about owning one. I would have to go to a place and have to be there a long time before I, needed a game system to play. I couldn't play it in the car. So I just didn't see the point of it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I remember SP was so cool. It folded up. It had the light built into it. You didn't have to have that stupid dumb light sticking off the top of your Game Boy Advance.
I had lots of friends that had all the different handheld systems, and I sampled a lot of them. I wanted a Game Gear so bad. back in the day, because compared to the Game Boy, it seemed so much cooler and superior. It was color. It had a backlight. It was bigger. I liked the way it felt in your hands, and I don't know. They always say you buy back your childhood. I finally got one a couple of years ago, and it is really cool. And Jason plays it. Yeah, I played it some, but
Oh, sweet.
I wanted it just to have it.
Great question, Brightburns. Did not think we'd be talking about old Nintendo systems, handhelds tonight. That was
Yeah,
awesome.
thanks, man.
Here's $5. Gives us $5.
Well, thanks, man.
It's okay, Zach. White Castle's still around. Here's $5.
There it is. I knew it was going to come up somewhere. Who's got bingo?
We should start doing Captain Logan bingo. We should get a shirt that has like, here's $5, and like it's a bingo board, and one of them is here's $5. One of them is White Castle.
White Castle, and yeah.
Jar Jar Ed. Present day Gandalf.
Present day Gandalf.
Robert Wild, $2. Thoughts
What
on
has
new?
this show become?
Who knows? I always wanted to have inside jokes so that new people would come in and have no idea what we were talking about. You got to go back. You got to go back and watch the old shows.
I've learned that's how you grow an audience.
Confusion sells.
They want 10 minutes at the beginning where you're talking exclusively to people that have been there before. What you want is the like McDonald's logic of selling your show. You know, it's not a welcome to the Captain Logan show. It's welcome back to the Captain Logan show.
Yeah. What did he say? Okay, so Robert Wild, thoughts on the new Planet of the Apes film that was announced?
I want to say we talked about this last show.
We actually did not.
Maybe we didn't. I pulled up a link about it, and I was gonna.
Right after the show ended, you said, I thought we were going to talk about this, and you showed me the link.
Oh,
we talked about it, but it was right after we went off.
Yeah,
off
there's
air.
an image for that. That's all we have so far. It's Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Kingdom of the Mushrooms.
I think is the name of that, and of course I'm just excited that continuity is going to continue. I still don't think that the war lasted long enough. That still felt like skirmish of the Planet of the Apes, and I'm curious to see how many years have passed in between films, and it gives me hope that we're finally that we might be leading to, especially if this is a trilogy, that we might finally be leading to this continuity's real version of actual Planet of the Apes, because especially if the coming movies are good, because of course it's not Matt Reeves anymore. I forget who's directing that, but obviously hopefully it's still to the same quality of those. I didn't like War as well as the last one, but I still thought it was solid. I think that franchise has earned the Planet of the Apes remake. It's not a thing I would have wanted, and of course, you know, we had a bad Planet of the Apes remake already. It's not a thing that I wanted necessarily with that first one, but it's been such an interesting, different kind of animal that I really would like to see their last movie be Planet of the Apes, and I felt like that after the second one, where it's like they need to get to make that movie, and I kind of hope that happens now. But
yeah, I don't necessarily need that, but just the fact that we're just gonna have a movie that is just apes, like we don't have to have the human like resistance over here, like in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, where there's just one stupid human guy that has to come in and like blow up the place. Like, this is just going to be a movie about a kingdom of apes.
Is it going to have no humans at all? There still would have to be humans in it, right?
I don't know. I mean, but it's
but in Planet of the Apes they've enslaved them, so there still have to be humans around.
Yeah, I don't know how we're going to get there. That's so far away that the humans have like devolved at that point, and like can't speak into that's so far in the future. This isn't going to be that far in the future, I don't think. So they'll still be humans, but I don't think.
Well, that's kind of what I was wondering, though, is like how far in the future it is.
It's true, because Kingdom is so vague. It could just be like we're in the kingdom and we jump ahead a lot. I don't know. Is it going to be all new characters? Is it going to be Caesar's son carrying it on? Like, I'm very interested to know.
So say who's the
where it's going to go.
Because I would also assume it's going to be a brand new selection of characters. Like, is anybody in that you've seen before? It's been a while since I've seen these movies.
Yeah, I don't know. Connor says Wes Ball is directing, and while I didn't think those Maze Runner movies, didn't like
Maze
those Maze
Runner,
Runner movies
that's
very
the guy.
much. He's a talented action filmmaker who I think deserves a shot at this material. Well, I hope he has a good script, and hopefully he can pull it off.
Yeah.
I am a little sad to see the director leave, but I mean, obviously I like Matt Reeves, but hopefully, I mean, I'm hoping for it. I love that franchise, and I hope it's great.
You just can't expect him to be the architect of both Apes and Batman. Like
Yeah,
you can't expect it.
he's got to move on.
Maybe if he wasn't making two HBO TV shows, you'd be like, "Look, buddy, you can make Batman in your off time and then make Planet of the Apes." But
All right. Speaking of Connor, the next super chat is from Connor.
thanks, man.
9.99. Baseless prediction. Wakanda Forever
Those
will
are the
end.
only ones I make.
Yeah. He says baseless prediction. Wakanda Forever will end with all the citizens of Wakanda becoming a Black Panther, the same way all those kids got Thor powers in Love and Thunder.
Oh, don't say that. I want to say you have to be wrong. If they do that, that's so against the mythology they set up in the last one. Like, do they all just put on Black Panther costumes and you don't need the heart-shaped herb anymore, and you can be a Black Panther without being the king or queen or whatever? And like,
Well,
do they
that's what
just
I
change
already.
all the rules?
Well, that's what I already hate about the Black Panther movie and Infinity War, where he's just got like a nanotech suit. Like, why couldn't anyone just wear that suit at that point? Like, what does he even have to have superpowers for? But
You know, I've never entirely thought of that before. But on the other hand, but I see what you're saying, but I think there's a good argument on the other side, which is, yeah, but if you have that kind of advanced technology, why wouldn't you use it on top of it?
yeah,
Like they are a super advanced society. It'd be kind of silly not to take advantage of your tag.
yeah, but they are also very traditional in their society too. So I could see them like the Black Panther just stays traditional with his because
That's what I'm saying. I don't think the nanotech thing supersedes tradition. Like,
yeah.
that's just the way, like, the suit can, unless there's a tradition about what the suit is supposed to be made out of. Like, how much is the heart-shaped herb about having superpowers? Honestly, I'm not saying the movie is doing this, but, like there could even be kind of an interesting commentary there about, like, technology catching up with nature, right? Where it's like, or does he take the herb because he has to have superpowers to do what he does, or is it just, that's their tradition, and even though the suit essentially gives him that, he's still doing the heart-shaped herb, but that doesn't supersede. Well, there's only one, and whoever is leading Wakanda is Black Panther, and you have to take the herb, and you have to, challenge. You have to accept challenges before you can, become king or whatever. And then there's only one. Like, if suddenly 50 people are wearing Black Panther, I'm out. I will leave the theater if that happens. I don't think they could make a case for it.
Yeah, I hope you're wrong, Connor. He also puts in the chat, Wakanda for everyone.
Oh no, that would be the most like blatant, obnoxious like diversity kind of message, where it's like, oh, everyone can be Black Panther. It's like, no, there's a tradition there. Like it's about a hierarchy. It's about leadership.
No,
Like,
it's not Black Panther verse. Don't do
yeah,
that.
don't do that. That'd be awful. Now I could see there being multiple Black Panthers in that, like, somebody takes the mantle and it turns out to be a really bad idea, and so by the end of the movie somebody else is Black. I could see that. But if
I
they
can
have
see
an
an
army of
argument.
freaking Black Panthers in that movie, I'm out. I will get up and walk out. Like,
No, I could see an argument for that in universe. Like someone in the movies, like, hey, why we have the technology? Why don't we just have our whole guard wear these costumes instead of just one? Like I could see like a Killmonger type character who comes in and
that's fine,
asks
but they
one to
can't
do
be Black
that.
Panthers. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like they could have outfits made out of that, but they can't be Black Panther.
Well, I'm saying I could see a character making that argument in the movie and not being right. I'm not saying I would want that. I'm
Sure.
just saying.
But there's also no reason you couldn't have everybody wearing nanotech suits. They just need to not be Black Panther.
Yeah. We just need to not. We've advanced the tech too far. Like once everyone can make infinite like Iron Man suits, it's no fun anymore. We
Yeah,
need like
what I'm saying is, if everyone is Black Panther, no one is.
yeah. That hopefully Connor's wrong about that. He
I
said it
haven't
was a
seen that
baseless
trailer yet.
prediction.
And I
He
don't
said
know
it
if
was
Connor
baseless.
has. But if that trailer ends with a bunch of people are in Black Panther costumes, I'm not seeing the movie. I say that, obviously I will. But begrudgingly, and then I'll be like, there's no way this can win me over on this. And then if it does, I'll be really shocked. But I don't see how. God, I hope they don't do it. Connor, why'd you have to say that?
Just so we would have this panic in our minds right now. I didn't even know that happened at the end of Love and Thunder because I haven't seen that yet. That sounds terrible. Ben Carey, $2. Who the hell's Connor?
Connor is a regular co-host that comes on Geekvolution quite frequently, and he is a movie collector and a big movie fan, and he likes comic books. And he's a good friend of mine and DJ's, and he's been to both of our houses.
And he's a Who Reviews the Reviewers legend.
Yeah, that's how. And then he's gonna say, "What the hell is Who Reviews the Reviewers?" But I used to do a reality show style competition series where people would review things in various challenges, and Connor was in one of the seasons of that, and that's how I met him.
Mm-hmm.
Years and years ago now.
It's crazy how that was season 4 and it's that long ago. I can't even believe it. TH1, $2. What Power Rangers would the staff of Geekvolution be?
I feel like people have asked us this before. Do you mean actual characters or just colors? You know,
stand by for further clarification from TH1.
Let's see if we can, real quick, DJ, like cast ourselves as specific Ranger. Like, what character do you think you are closest in personality to? I mean, you only have like 150 to choose from.
I know. Are we sticking with MMPR or like?
I mean, he just had Power Rangers. I'd say whole franchise. Just do like who do you think you're closest to?
I'm trying to think. I think probably Adam for me. I think he's the only like one that's like shy that I can think of.
Oh, that's fair.
That's kind of like his. He's quiet, introverted, and but is into martial arts, and actually his character's into martial arts. Obviously, they all can do martial arts, but I mean, like some of the characters actually were into martial arts. Billy wasn't into martial arts, but his actor just had to do stuff. But yeah, I think I would go with Adam. I'm trying to think of a Dino Thunder character, but I'm not really like. I guess Ethan would be closest, but I'm not like a nerd, like a tech guy.
Yeah, I wouldn't go to
science
Billy or anything for you either. And then after that, all you have is Tommy and Connor, and I don't think either of us are really a Connor. Who the hell is Connor? Well, now we're talking about a character from Dino Thunder. I don't have a good one for myself right away. I'm trying to think of somebody really loud and irritating. Oh, Tom just says colors. Oh, that's easier.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, I go gold all day long, and I've always said that. If not gold, white, probably.
Yeah. I would go with some form of blue, either a really dark navy blue.
Oh yeah, because you're obsessed with blues.
Nice light blue, like the light blue of Sestro from the Alien Rangers, or the real dark navy Ranger from Ninja Storm. Blue's the best.
Okay, moving right along.
I liked it. All we had to do was pick a color, and we made that way more complicated.
Senior Six says Cap is Zordon. Yeah, I mean, I'd rather be Zordon. Absolutely, I'll just be a head in a tube. That's cool.
We need to get an effect on this channel for your head to be in a tube. How have we not done that yet?
I'd love it. Yeah, DJ morph to command center. Why do you have to morph to go to the command center?
DJ, go to pre-written. And I'll just be in an alpha suit. Aye.
I like the idea of news videos where Zordon is just reading articles to you because he's like an exposition head.
Yeah.
Zordon, how do you know so much about the Mario movie?
Observe the Zaslav globe.
Rangers, a Zaslav wave is going over the universe.
Lord Zaslav waves. That's your
favorite is Lord Zaslav.
Hail Lord Zaslav.
Hail Lord Zaslav. Your favorite movies may never be downloadable again.
Speaking of inside jokes that nobody's gonna understand.
How many more super chats are left? I bet we still have like 5, right?
We've got one left, and it is a
good.
spoiler for an MCU show. So if you don't want to be spoiled like I just was, everybody probably already knows about this. I'm probably the last one on the planet, but
Maybe I don't. Please don't spoil things for at least anything within the last couple of months. It's always dicey to say, like, when is it okay to start talking about things that happen and stuff. But anyway, it's a super chat. We'll read it. Everybody, bye. If you don't, like, I'm not even gonna say stop for a couple minutes. We're at the end of the show. Just, we'll see how many viewers we leave. We lose. But if you don't want to find out things, what show is it?
It's about She-Hulk. When I'm sure everyone already knows this, but
yeah,
I just don't know
honestly,
what people know.
But yeah, I mean, I will watch that show, but I'm not too worried about spoilers for that myself. But
so Billy the Kid Lawrence says $5. Daredevil's special episode of She-Hulk is this week. Will you be checking it out?
Oh, that's not really too much of a spoiler. We knew Daredevil was in that show.
Yeah, well, I didn't, but I don't keep up with stuff.
Oh, you didn't? I feel like we talked about that on this show. But yeah, that was in. I mean, that was in like the first trailer for like the second teaser for that show. Yeah, we've known that going all the way back, and there was. I mean, everybody assumed it because they're both lawyers and they have a relationship in the comics, and of course, he was gonna be there, especially with the announcement of his series. Anyway, sorry, you made a big deal out of that being a spoiler. I'm like, that's not really that big of a deal, but we did lose 5 viewers, which is really funny. Okay. I will eventually watch that show. I'm not going to try to catch up for this week, but I thought he'd already been in it.
Yeah, maybe he was in it, and now he's getting a full episode. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's what I get from the comment. His special episode of She-Hulk is this week. No, I will not be checking it out because I haven't checked out the first 4 episodes or whatever.
I haven't looked at it either. I was trying to. I took a break last week, or was it the week before? And no, we had a whole week last week, right?
Yeah.
I took a week off and I caught up a little bit on Marvel stuff. I finished Moon Knight finally, and I watched a couple more episodes of Miss Marvel, but I still haven't quite finished that show. And I'll eventually do She-Hulk, but I also want to catch up on some Star Wars stuff because I really want to watch Andor, and I just haven't started that yet because I've been trying to catch up on some other stuff. And now I got to watch Sandman, so none of that's going to happen this week because I've still got. I just watched the first episode of that today. I've still got 9 more of those to watch.
Yeah, AMC comment says DJ isn't paid to pay attention. After all, he's busy policing all of us.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't mean to give you crap about that, DJ.
Yeah, I haven't been interested in that show. I haven't even looked at any of it.
No, I only said that because I thought we talked about the Daredevil thing on this show.
Yeah, I knew we had talked about it. I didn't know if it was confirmed. I knew that was like the prevailing rumor as it was coming out. Like everyone assumed he was going to be in that.
Yeah, no, he's done interviews talking about it.
Ah, that's interesting. I don't know if I'll like that or not. The only thing I've seen from that show is like stuff online, and the fact that they talked about Captain America's virginity makes me never want to watch that show. I was like, what? Why is this a conversation that they're having?
What I'm hearing about the humor of that makes it sound like not at all my thing, and like it is for an audience that I don't even remotely sort of kind of fall into.
Yeah. But who knows? I'll give it a try at some point. I still haven't even started Moon Knight. But yeah, that is the last super chat I have.
I'm curious to see what you think of that if you end up watching that show.
Yeah, I'll try. There's so much stuff. I haven't started Sandman either yet. I want to try that too.
I mostly enjoyed the first episode, so I'm excited to keep going.
Cool.
I love that it's a pretty straight adaptation of the stuff that I actually read. So that's kind of nice. But anyway, everybody, thanks as always for watching the Captain Logan Show. Hope you had a good time with us. We'll be back again on Thursday night, 7 o'clock for another one. And we already know what the lead-in topic will be, unless something crazier and more important happens than trailers. But we're going to talk at least about the Mario trailer and probably the new Black Panther trailer if there's anything there to really discuss. We've had enough from that I don't feel the need to talk about every trailer that comes out for a thing, but I didn't mean to look at that just because I'm curious, but I don't want to set the precedent of if there's a trailer for something, we're definitely talking about it, because, if something gets 5, 6, 7, I don't want to know too much going in. I'm good with one or two, and I'm kind of good with none. But folks want to hear us talk about them, so I do that. But anyway, thanks a lot for watching. I'll be back tomorrow night with a request with Austin, and we're gonna do a movie that I know nothing about that Tom asked for, which is called Jacob the Liar. I don't know when that came out. I don't know anything about it. I have no idea what that movie is, but that's what we're doing. So if you want to watch that before we do the review, you can look that up. And I don't even know where it's streaming right now. I got to figure that out because I have to watch it for tomorrow. But anyway, in the meantime, I was Captain Logan, and this was DJ Martinez.
Good to see you guys. Good to talk to you. DJ loves physical media so much, he bid on something on eBay and won it during this live stream.
What was it?
Go back and see if you can watch when exactly I did it.
What was it?
It was ending right in the middle of the show. I was like, dang, I really want this. It is the Guillermo del Toro film Crimson Peak, the Arrow Video limited edition Blu-ray release. I got it for only $50, which is crazy because that's like sticker price. It's a super cool box set. But that's one of the only films from him that I don't own. And I just watched it 2 nights ago for the first time, and I wanted to pick that up.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Good job. Thanks a lot for paying attention to the show that you're doing. I really appreciate that.
You didn't even notice. Nobody noticed.
We may have to have words later, but anyway, I'm just kidding. Thanks a lot, folks. We'll see you later. I almost said my name again. You know who I am. It says that in the title. Bye, everybody.